Oh, dude.
Hold on.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I was totally muted. Yeah.
Was it? Would I open it on my phone? It wasn't muted.
So you heard Nazi? That's all we care about.
Okay.
Live at the Woods for our very special Gangbang episode.
Yes, it's probably the same thing.
I'm gonna pull a bunch of questions out of a hat. And
We
last
have
man
like a
standing,
studio audience. It's great.
gets to go to the championship. Can't hear me?
You might just move the chair up.
It wasn't. We went down and it wasn't too packed that you couldn't play anything.
I hear a little bit. There's a lot of background chatter.
Yeah. Can you? Am I hearable now?
There's also a volume knob. I don't know if that needs to be adjusted. What?
Hello.
You are hearable now.
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear me? Cool. So we're live at the Woods. Come here, fucking drink and eat, be merry. But we're gonna have this very special Gangbang episode.
Gangbang.
Last one standing goes to the championship.
It's like
in
that book
2
Snuff I
weeks.
just finished.
Finish it?
So,
Yeah. It was an
Ending's
interesting
weird.
ending,
They like melt together.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, that's an interesting way to do
I'm
that.
gonna pull a bunch of questions out of a hat.
That's a bag.
Yep.
Metaphorical hat.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I'm wearing a hat.
I got a
You
hat too, yeah, I told me.
He's got a big hat.
Yeah.
And
I got a fun circus hat.
people are worried this is gonna take forever. So without further ado, your first question:
I worked there for about a year or something.
best samurai
10
film.
years.
Yojimbo.
10 years, something like that. Yeah, long time.
The Last Samurai.
Define samurai.
A movie with samurais?
Can it be Ronin?
So I'll hear that.
Well, see, I want to see the 8 diagram pole fighter, but I don't know if he's technically a
Like,
samurai.
why did you decide that she's an ass or dumb bitch? That was your word.
I don't know if you can argue it. Go with
I
it.
like that analogy.
Before we begin, how does the time work this time?
Speed round.
So
Is there more time?
no.
No, just 30 seconds straight up.
So Chris is last. He's got 30 seconds.
I go.
Then you go with 30.
Okay.
Then 30. Then 15. 15.
Okay.
15.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready,
Does that count?
it counts.
Do I have to pick an number?
It counts.
I get how long?
30 seconds.
She was still living there at 13.
Um,
Oh, okay, sorry.
8 diagram pole fighter is the best samurai, for lack of a better term, movie. Because it is, in my opinion, the finest of the Shaw Brothers films. It is essentially about a family dynamic. And it also, the plot of it is very pun-based. That's very good.
Talk to her.
It's a swell movie. I doubt anybody, Luke may have seen it, Jim may have seen it. I doubt anybody else knows of the movie I speak of.
I'm surprised that she doesn't. Wait, even Tyler? Isn't that her cousin? Is that her cousin? Wait, isn't that her cousin?
I think The Last Samurai is a great piece of samurai film because it shows the end of basically an entire era and culture pretty much throughout Japan. It shows how modern technology kind of ruins the aspect of what a samurai does, yet they still kind of hold to their beliefs, and it's a great historical, kind of historically correct piece on samurai and the fall of what happened and the invasion of, Western culture and whatnot. So it's just a good look at how it ends instead of just, glorifying samurais and whatnot.
I mean, I never was.
So Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo is not only one of the greatest samurai films ever made, it's actually a samurai film that takes place during the Edo period of Japan about a ronin that is going around looking for work. And it's not a Hong Kong kung fu film that takes place in China. It actually inspired a lot of Western works, most notably A Fistful of Dollars here in America. So it is.
I mean, when you live with somebody, you have to at least try to find a way.
So how long?
15.
trash.
What the fuck?
And Jim picked the correct answer to the question, to be completely 100% honest.
Which one?
Yeah. That's
Wait,
my
Matt's
15.
the older one, right? Who's the
I don't know anything about your movie. I think you're pretty poorly. Your movie sounds like a great samurai film, but I think The Last Samurai is a great look into the end of the samurai era. I think it's shot beautifully. Tom Cruise gives a pretty good performance, and the samurai keep to their own and at the end when they're at basically their end. I think it's a great film.
She was old, but well, this is
The only good part about The Last Samurai was the soundtrack done by the guy from Yellow Magic Orchestra. It didn't inspire anything. It was just a piece of whitewashing modern Hollywood trash, and it didn't create any influence in American culture whatsoever.
I always liked it. I always liked dude.
I'm not going to elaborate for all this unless you all want me to. I'm going with Jim.
Yeah, I actually did not pick a samurai film. I picked a Hong Kong.
I like the Tom Cruise movie where he's
I almost
machine
went
guns.
with Hand of Doom.
I don't
That
know
was
any
my question. I
samurai
pre-gamed
movies.
that one.
Question 2. Best animated Disney movie, Pixar does not count.
Good.
Beauty and the Beast.
Tell him I said I'm sorry. The last time I
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
the nicest.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
It doesn't matter. Just tell him I said I'm sorry. Is that fair?
Jim, when you're ready.
He would maybe.
At its time, Who Framed Roger Rabbit was an absolute technical marvel. It melded live action with animation in a seamless manner that was unreal at the time. In the time before, computer animation would make such a thing much easier. And the performances and even the marriage between Disney and Warner characters in the movie was simply something that people marveled at the time, and that in my mind makes it the best animated Disney film.
Time with my old friends alone. Like you do your thing, I do my thing. Anyway, sorry. No, I completely understand.
Hunchback of Notre Dame is one of the handful of Disney movies that doesn't hold any punches or pull any punches when it comes to the audience. It has probably the highest vocabulary and complex subject matter of any other Disney film. And it's very, very much about how a guy can't handle having a boner.
I'll see you soon. All right, man.
Fun arguing, guys.
Leave me hanging.
Good.
It is, though.
Good. So you start.
Oh, that's gross. Beauty and the Beast is the best Disney animated film. It was nominated for Best Picture as an animated film before they even have like their own category. Soundtrack's amazing. It's a great Broadway play now. It basically brought Disney animation back to life. It was the first, basically, of a new generation of movies. You could say Little Mermaid, but Beauty and the Beast characters are iconic. Belle, the Beast, Gaston, like everybody knows who they are. Everybody adores the film. It has a good message that love can be found no matter how beastly a man is.
Social drinking, especially at a job, is kind of a thing. It's hard to turn that down.
Roger Rabbit not only married the animated and live-action film worlds, but it also did bring adult complex storytelling to what's essentially a child's genre. It was essentially a film noir made for the family, and marrying.
That's just me. I've always. I've never really drank. I'm glad he's doing well. I mean, it's good.
I don't necessarily think licensing Disney characters equates to a Disney film, and all Disney characters are iconic. That's what makes them Disney movies, whereas Hunchback of Notre Dame is truly the most elaborate and complex Disney film ever made.
Dude, you're not dumb. You're just not fucking.
Thematically.
Get off your ass and do something.
I'm gonna go with that. I don't think Roger Rabbit, just because they use Disney, is a Disney film. Hunchback of Notre Dame, it's kind of forgettable. People just know he has a hunchback. Plus, Notre Dame kind of burnt down recently. I think Beauty and the Beast is just a better movie all around. It has better accolades and is just more renowned and loved as a movie.
That's fine.
Brainer.
Nothing wrong.
I mean, it was actually a Disney film, though.
Was it?
Yeah.
I wanted to just say it was more like Space Jam, but I didn't.
I know
I
it
didn't bring
took
up Space
a
Jam with the
fuck ton
the-
to work out the licensing deal, and I know in Roger Rabbit, it came down to making sure that Bugs and Mickey both shared the exact same amount of
Yeah.
Thank you, Katie.
screen
Thank
time.
you.
Fully say what you want to say. You're already. Little kids piss off. You never know.
Corey's already done fucked up.
Just never mind.
That's all we can ask for from you, Corey. Is a good old
Just-
try.
Just don't
Good
worry
try.
It shouldn't be.
Get the old college
It
try.
shouldn't be, but it is.
So it's 1-1-0.
Natural.
Question
I
3.
want the penis question so bad.
How big is your penis?
Worst use of a talking animal.
A talking cat.
He said it first.
You guys have been together a while.
I'll let you have that, actually.
Are you sure?
Yes, I will. I will let you have that one.
That's fair.
Worst use of a talking animal.
Half baked.
Shit, I shouldn't have let him use a talking cat.
I know, I gave it to you.
No, I'll let you. We actually discussed this earlier, so I can't steal your answer. Give me a second. I'm thinking.
I'm gonna put 30 seconds on the clock.
To think.
Yes.
For 6 years. Are you sure it was 2013? Because I started working for LJ. Oh, 14.
Yeah, because
February 2014.
Sierra Nevada,
15.
Colorado, 2012.
You're right. So we
10.
kind of think all the times blur together as I get older. I swear.
I really, that's the only one I can think of. So I'm gonna go with Aladdin.
So that would mean
Which one?
Just the first Aladdin.
But which animal?
The parrot.
Yaga's the only talking
Yaga.
animal.
Whoa.
Yeah, the monkey doesn't talk.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Sierra and I saw that.
He kind of does in the shadows.
I almost wish you would have just
So Aladdin has the worst use of a talking animal because Gilbert Gottfried's voice is goddamn annoying. Okay, like there's nothing good about it. Every time you hear it, it's like fucking nails on a chalkboard. It's just a fucking. He's a bad guy too, so you don't even need that. He basically does nothing in the story except annoy you. He has no purpose at all, just to be a fucking parrot or whatever the fuck he is. Toucan Sam should have fucking taken his spot. Gilbert Gottfried, man, they just awful. Stay on fucking Hollywood squares. Shit.
not anymore. It kept getting worse, and that's why I eventually started ignoring them for the most part. They're not good.
First of all, Gilbert Gottfried is a national fucking treasure, and he has a great goddamn podcast. Second of all, that dog from The Office Space, he says like one line, and I forget even what it is, so it's kind of a waste of like screen time.
I think Billy and I started.
And then I don't even know what you're talking about when you just say a talking cat. So, like that, whatever. It's
I feel
just
like if you're not married,
that dog was just such a worthless line, a throwaway piece. It's a waste of a talking animal in a movie.
And Chris.
Can I clarify something first thing?
No, don't do that.
Okay, no. You can do it.
You can start off with it.
Use it with your argument.
what is it? But you seem like you're.
I don't recall the cat's name in Talking Cat, but Talking Cat is the worst use of a talking animal because half the movie the cat isn't actually talking; it's narration, it's voiceover, and when the cat does speak, it only speaks to people individually one time, which is fucking stupid. That is the dumbest fucking rule for a talking animal in a movie, for the plot to be based around that. And the cat doesn't even talk to everybody in the single movie. I think it's the mom gets left out. Somebody gets left out in the fucking movie, but it's a terrible use of Eric Roberts. And half the lines are like just not the cat actually talking, it's narration.
You totally said Half Baked instead of Off Space, so your argument is void because you've made two movies. A Talking Cat, he actually does give the story a movement. He helps move these people together. Fucking Yago doesn't do anything in Aladdin. It's awful. He's literally just there to be an awful little Jar Jar.
15 seconds.
Do a shot of whiskey.
It's the dog and Half Baked. So, It's just the talking cat. At least it's a movie around. He says it one time to each character, except for the mom, maybe. He just says one throwaway line in Half Baked, and then that's it. And it's just it means nothing. It's a dumb fucking movie.
The Dog and Half Baked, that line is for completely like comedic purposes to demonstrate how high they are, and Iago is an antagonistic comedic relief, so it completely serves a purpose. Where in Talking Cat, the cat does not talk most of the time.
Fair, it's a high school friend, and it's just one of those things where you kind of you're
A talking cat.
I gotta pee,
He's fine.
but I'll probably wait.
God damn it. I should have said talking cat.
Tony, he's a good guy.
Yeah, I was gonna let you have it. I was gonna let you have Talking Cat
Tiebreaker.
and go fucking Air Buddies.
Why not that one?
That's the thing. I've never
It's
worked
an
with him
either
or
or,
dated him,
so
it's hard
come
to
back to
tell
that.
how he is in that environment,
Who
right?
would you hire to assassinate Thanos?
John Wick.
To be honest.
Alternate timeline Thanos.
And also not completely surprised, to be honest. I love the guy. It's one of the, I think I was telling him earlier, it's one of those things
Go ahead
where
and time me.
when you've been friends with someone for that long, you look past a lot of bullshit, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know him outside of work.
Yeah, and I don't know him in work, so, you know, I don't know.
You don't want to,
I-
I'll tell you that. It's not good.
I try
Wait,
not to work with
real
my
quick
folks
question.
because if I
Does it have to
find
be
that
somebody
a
currently in the
lot of
Marvel
times
Universe
people
cinematics, or
Could be
Anybody
anybody.
from film.
anybody from film?
I said John
Period.
Wick. So.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Okay, so it has to be someone that's already been on film. Deadpool.
No. I don't recommend my friends for jobs because then it just gets weird.
Starts with you, Jim.
Well, I went with Deadpool because
Yeah.
Marvel owns Fox now. Deadpool's Fox property. He's hard to fucking kill. It's impossible to fucking kill. I'm not even sure if the snap trick would work on him because he has like some sort of loophole there, I'm sure. Maybe I should have gone with Lobo on that one, but he's pretty impossible to kill. He could probably just keep coming at him until Thanos is
Unless
dead.
you know how they are in a professional
That's who I would hire to assassinate Thanos. John Wick can die.
It's such a weird thing. It always turns awkward.
I was gonna say, I think you made some money when I worked. Yeah, that was like.
But
That's. You should be fair.
Yeah, it's you, dude.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
See, I thought I
To
went
be
first.
fair,
Nah.
it's a little different when I'm just
Sorry.
recruiting you.
That's
for,
why I was getting in
uh,
Rainer's face. I
like-
thought it was Rainer's turn.
I thought you just wanted to kill, so it was kind of cute.
As we all know, Thanos is inevitable. So the only person that could successfully kill Thanos would be another alternative timeline Thanos. Nobody would know Thanos the way Thanos knows Thanos, which is the ultimate person to fucking kill Thanos. It's inevitable. There's nobody that would know the way he thinks and also be crazy enough to kill Thanos successfully, other than another Thanos.
So,
And
and you started, and I think
John Wick needs guns. Thanos is bulletproof, as far as I know. Or Black Widow would have had that.
No. She was a TA when I was there years ago.
John Wick could totally kill Thanos. He is not just trained in guns, he's trained in knives, he's trained in kung fu. They actually call it gun fu. He's pissed off about his dog, Thanos. If he made the snap, his dog would die, and John Wick would be super pissed off because he couldn't even see his dog. It would just disappear. I just think he's the most skilled assassin. That's his job. He has like people everywhere that can help him, even when he's at his like worst, when people want him dead and pay him to die, and pay people to have him die. He can deal with all the underlings, anybody at all. It doesn't matter.
But you're doing, I don't even know what they call it.
Deadpool's also a hired assassin. And alternative line Thanos, I'm sorry, that's just a cop-out answer. Yeah, he's just impossible to kill, so who better to kill an inevitable person than someone who is literally unkillable?
And Jason was Jason. Yes.
But he can be extremely funny.
Yeah, and he was also smart. He knew what he was doing. I still talk to Bombi every now and again. He's a great guy.
Thanos is damn near godlike, so I'll be damned if like John Wick could come close to it. And also with like the whole
His friends yell at him.
Deadpool aspect, I feel like the closest you could get to that would be Lady Death, but we're talking film-wise, so canonically Lady Death doesn't exist.
Time.
Alternate Thanos, if you saw Thanos, it basically in the world. I think that's how those things work when you see each other at the same time. Deadpool, he might be unkillable, but he's very unreliable, I think. He's a little bit too comedic. I think he would try to be funny. John Wick would just kill him. He'd kill everybody around him. It didn't matter. Even if he gets shot, he keeps going and keeps going just because.
I wouldn't chase it. I'd miss Bobby though. I think Bobby was pretty hard.
All good
And a
picks.
genuinely good dude. Yeah.
I wish there was another
What did you say?
round. He said all good picks.
Oh, okay.
Except for John Wick's.
I would too. Yeah.
I mean, he's the quintessential film assassin now, so I expected him to come up.
Yeah. Me too.
I'm gonna give it to Jim.
Okay.
I disagree, and also Thanos versus Thanos wouldn't cause anything to collide because canonically,
It's
Captain America and
alternate-
Captain America.
And also, Alternative Worlds
Oh, that bad?
doesn't abide by the same
Fuck
thing as
comic
timeline
books. It's
fuckery.
stupid as shit.
What is the best Steven Spielberg movie?
Schindler's List.
I'm sorry, you said who?
Steven Spielberg.
Catch Me If You Can. Which is one of the things I have written down on my notes.
That's all you wrote
I
down.
literally have 5 things written down, and I was like, Spielberg's gonna come up. Catch Me If You Can.
That's all you wrote down.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
You should have said the Crystal Skull so you could get Shy on there too.
Yeah.
Just no, I'm just
I'll start timing you.
okay.
He was an asshole.
You raped Indiana Jones.
AI.
All right, 30 seconds to AI.
Wow.
So he literally picked up the scraps from a dead Kubrick and tried to make a film, and that's like a damn near impossible feat to do. So I'm going to give him like mad props for even attempting that. And yeah, it didn't turn out to be the best movie in the world, but it's the best thing Spielberg's ever done, and that's saying a lot because Spielberg's done a lot, and he hasn't done much very good. That's my argument.
I just never.
Oh, that's
I
Catch
don't
Me If You
remember,
Can.
but I'm pretty sure I never did.
Catch Me If You Can has an all-star cast. It has Leo, Martin Sheen, Tom Hanks, some other people. And it's just a great fucking movie. It's this very elaborate game of cat and mouse. It's one of the most exciting and interesting like movies for it not to be an action movie. It's very, there's not a lulling moment in it. And it's based on a true story. It's a real thing that happened. It's a very genius thing, and to take that real thing and put it on silver screen is just a fantastic idea. And only Spielberg could do it the way it was. Up to Pete.
Schindler's List is one of the greatest movies ever made. It takes a very volatile and sad part of history and basically makes it volatile and a sad part of history. He shows that, one person can save a little bit of people, but you still have this going on. You have to defy, Hitler, and that's pretty good to do, is to defy Hitler because he sucks. It's shot in black and white, which a lot of movies don't do, so it just gives you that gritty old feel to it. The acting is superb. It's a great story.
I'm glad that I don't.
15
I'm
seconds.
glad that I don't read that far.
Fuck it, we'll cast that kid from the Jeff Foxworthy show as a Pinocchio robot boy who lives forever and make a big 3-hour fucking boring movie about it. It's fucking brilliant. Cast it. Put Jude Law in there somewhere. It's great. It's the best thing he's ever fucking done because he sucks.
Brian loves that movie. Schindler's List.
15 to Chris.
But now I work from home, so it's even worse. Basically just sitting- Yeah, exactly. I do.
That was pretty good.
Write anything else down about this movie?
The title.
It just says Catch Me If You Can, Spielberg, Leo. Oh, Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken's also in this movie. Like I said, it has an all-star cast. It's a fucking fantastic movie. It's just a thrilling movie. And it's one of those things that, like, it's almost amazing to watch and understand that that really fucking happened. Somebody got away with all that, did, like, 7 years in prison, and then got a job with the FBI.
AI is fucking awful. Catch Me If You Can, it sounds great, but a better true story is a guy that saved Jews from the Hitler final solution. Basically, if you say Schindler's List is the worst movie out of this, you might be a Nazi. It's the best movie he's ever made. It looks great. It's got a great story.
Yeah, Rainer.
I knew the Nazi thing.
What? You mean AI didn't win?
It won Brian's admiration. That's what matters.
I chose you. Well, the guy that was buying my beer left, so.
I got you, dude. I don't have to pay rent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shit, you paid my
Worst.
rent?
Nah, dude, my roommate's been on employment.
Yeah, if you want to hand this to Katie, tell her it's PBR and it's
you
on
can
Rainer's
have.
tab.
You can have.
Or actually, Rainer, do I need money?
Okay. Worst.
Oh,
We
just
need money.
open me a tab.
Worst Tom Cruise vehicle.
What do you? What is like actual
Like
car?
franchise.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
think is
Yeah.
Franchise or
Franchise.
just
Worst movie that was made specifically to star Tom Cruise. That was the nature,
so worst Tom
Risky
Cruise
Business?
movie.
pretty much.
Okay.
You said Risky Business? Mission Impossible 2.
And Tommy Rainer.
The Last Samurai.
30 seconds to Rainer.
The Last Samurai is a piece of garbage. Okay, one time I won it as a free DVD and I watched it and it was just long and boring and it doesn't make any sense because Tom Cruise is trying to be this samurai, which he's not, and he falls in love with this lady, and it's just a terrible fucking convoluted movie. He gets shot with a machine gun 18 million times at the end, but still lives. He's a terrible actor in the movie. The movie just sucks all around. The writing's terrible. The whole story is super cliche for what it needs to be when it's trying to tell this actual story that happened.
That's time. Chris?
Well, he can answer first.
Yeah, you right.
So, Mission Impossible 2 is the worst movie in a shitty franchise based on the unoriginal premise of rebooting a TV series from the 60s and then the 80s and then whenever they kept trying to reboot it. So it's a rehash of a rehash of a rehash based on a rehash of the first movie that sucked to begin with and didn't get good until like 5 movies in. So fuck that movie, fuck Tom Cruise, fuck Scientology, fuck Xenu, fuck L. Ron Hubbard, and fuck you too.
That's time.
Battlefield Earth, check it out.
Risky Business is inherently an incredibly sexist movie. It also deals highly with statutory rape, which is not a thing that could be in a movie today. It just wouldn't fly. It's a terrible fucking vehicle for Tom Cruise, and everybody remembers it for a scene in that movie that did not occur.
We have waivers for you to sign.
And that's roughly it. Everybody misremembers that scene of him sliding his socks. That scene does not apply the way it happens in your mind. But it's what that movie's
That's
most
fine.
well known for.
Mission Impossible, he does his own stunts, so I think it's pretty good. They've made movie after movie, so they're making money. Risky Business, I mean, it has that iconic scene no matter what it is. It's pretty famous. The Last Samurai is not talked about. People don't even probably know about that movie because it's so fucking long and awful. So it's the worst one that Tom Cruise is in.
As I mentioned before, The Last Samurai at least has that score by Ryuichi Sakaguchi, and that's a fucking great score. Risky Business does indeed have the scene where he's sliding across the store, you know, the whatever to the whatever Silver Bullet
Time.
Band.
Bob Seger, nice.
Bob Seger,
prop,
yeah.
yeah.
Ryuichi Sakaguchi, check him out. He's great.
Risky Business ultimately might as well be white privilege, the movie, because it's about a spoiled rich kid who uses his money to take advantage of a young, downtrodden woman of the night, and it's pretty fucked up. And I can't believe that movie made money. It's, in my opinion, a worse movie than Risky Business. Or not Risky Business. Pretty Woman. It's a worse movie than Pretty Woman.
Okay. This is another hard one. I'm going to give the point to Rainer.
Fuck yeah, that movie sucks.
Hey, who put that question?
But Sakaguchi, me. That was me.
What is it?
2.
Mr. Impossible 2.
It's
because,
pretty
like,
bad.
I know you have 1.
It's really
I
up
know
in the
you
air
have
about which one's the worst, but it's like
3
2 or 3.
and 2?
2, yeah.
All right. Who is the best 80s to 90s action star?
Jean-Claude Van Damme, bitch.
Jackie Chan.
Oh fuck, I hate you. I said that too fast.
Don't say that.
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
30 seconds to Rainer.
How did nobody say Arnold? Like, how is that not your first choice? The guy made billions and billions of dollars. He's Mr. Universe, so he can obviously kick anybody else's ass. He's stronger than everybody. His accent just kills because you don't understand a word he's saying. He made a great movie called Jingle All the Way, and that's kind of an action movie too. It's made for kids. He does everything. Running Man. It's just he's the greatest. He's iconic. He does stuff now. He was the goddamn governor of California.
Hell yeah.
That's time. Jim, I believe.
I don't even know where to start. Sorry, I'm still in thinking phase. You might want to time me on that.
A few more seconds before I hit this button.
Okay, it's Jackie fucking Chan. You can't even state a list without listing Jackie Chan. He's a cultural icon. He's a cultural phenomenon. From Rumble in the Bronx on, he just hit the scene running. He's so goddamn awesome. He breaks his legs. He breaks his whole body doing stunts. His own stunts. He doesn't, Schwarzenegger doesn't do that. Van Damme doesn't do that. He was raised in Peking Opera. He knows his shit. He uses fucking furniture as props, and he does a comedic style.
Okay, the question was stated as 80s and or 90s action star. Both of your choices had careers outside of the 80s and or 90s. When you think of Jean-Claude Van Damme, you think of Jean-Claude Van Damme in that time period because he hasn't really had solid work outside of that, outside of playing himself in other self-referential things. There's like Bloodsport, and there's fucking... I want to say Over the Top, and that's not JCVD. But JCVD exists within that time period, and he is what you think of when you think of that time period in action-wise. And the splits.
Just because your career goes past 80s and 90s doesn't mean you're a quintessential 80s and 90s action star. That's what Arnold Schwarzenegger is. Jackie Chan is a little bit later. Arnold's career is the best and biggest and most successful out of both of yours. Jean-Claude Van Damme, who gives a shit about him anymore? He probably eats pizza on a fucking bus bench. Not that that's bad. Anyway.
I didn't even begin to tackle the body of work that Jackie Chan did in the 80s in the Hong Kong films. He has more films before he broke it big in Hollywood than either of your two have combined. He is by far the most prolific action movie star of the 80s and 90s.
Free Hong Kong.
Yes.
I don't think either of your two choices compare to the muscles from Brussels when it comes to 80s and 90s action flicks. I mean, you have the splits, you have those fucking massive pythons. JCVD is the fucking man. And unfortunately, his career did not live past that period.
I really like the argument of it being he is only in that period. If you think of him, it's from that period. I'm going to go with JCVD.
Fuck.
Shit.
Also, if you have not watched the show, what did that show air on? Was it
JCVD?
The Amazon.
Was it Prime? Amazon Prime.
should've
Jean-Claude
brought
Van
up-
Johnson.
I should
is,
have brought up that there was not a whole lot of Jackie Chan after like 2000 that's any good.
Tuxedo.
That sucked. I watched that in theaters. I regretted every second of it.
I won't lie. Forbidden Kingdom is one of my.
Forbidden Kingdom's alright. Yeah.
It's one of my more favorite Jackie Chan films, solely out of the.
The only reason
the
I
scene
hated
with,
Karate Kid is they should have called it Shaolin Kid, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Who is the cutest movie character?
Gizmo?
Fuck. Does Baby Yoda count?
No.
Ah, shit.
Though Baby Yoda is the inspiration of the question, it does not count.
Cutest.
That fucking chicken from Moana.
Hey, hey.
Hey, what?
Hey, hey.
Hey, the chicken from Moana.
Can I just say, Can I just say 90s Haley Joel Osment?
You need a character though.
That was his character, was just like, I'm the cute kid.
Team Spacey in the house.
Oh no.
No, I'm not gonna lie though. The other day, you were at work and you were making that list of like cute characters or whatever.
Yeah.
I almost said Haley Joel Osment for that list.
I really like him.
I do need a character, not an actor.
A specific character, okay. Shit. Shit.
Such a good answer.
Just stay with AI. Fuck it.
Go with it.
No,
I see you're Haley Joel Osment now. I raise you one, Jonathan Lipnick.
I was gonna say that, but I'm not in it.
He's in Stuart Little and he just fucking hates that little mouse so much, but he's so cute when he hates.
All right, I'm gonna start the clock.
I don't even remember.
I don't even know, man.
That's the only thing he saw as cute for years.
Yeah.
15.
Fuck.
My favorite character.
Cutest character.
9.
The little girl that was obsessed with Thor in Adventures of Babysitting.
All right.
Oh, shit, I've actually seen the movie.
30 seconds to you, Jim.
I don't know, she's a little fucking girl. She's obsessed with Thor. It's fucking rad. She sees like the mechanic in the fucking shop, and she's like, "It's Thor!" And there's like a whole 2-hour movie about that. I don't even know. It's been like 10 years since I've seen the movie, but I remember that little girl being obsessed with Thor being super cute, and that's the cutest movie character of all time. And you can't convince me otherwise. And fuck you for saying otherwise. I'm done.
What is cuter than a pet dog? Or maybe even a pet kitten or bunny? It's a mentally challenged chicken. It is the cutest thing possibly ever made. And it's Disney, and it's Pixar, so you know it's goddamn adorable. It literally can't do anything. Its head hits the ground whenever it wants to say anything, and you understand completely what it means. It always gets back. It's adorable. It's just the greatest pet of all time because, hell, you can't even eat it. It's just so cute.
Gizmo is just inherently cute to the point that if it weren't for Gizmo, Furbies wouldn't exist. They actually came out with a Gizmo line of Furbies. Mogwais are just fucking adorable when they're not reptilian, and the opposite angle of the Gremlins himself just magnifies how cute Gizmo is with his little like I'm Gizmo shit, and like he's the perfect Christmas present. And also the cutest thing in Adventures with Babysitting is Elizabeth Shue. Thank you very fucking much.
Time.
Damn.
15 to 10.
Elizabeth Shue is fucking sexy. Alright, there's a difference. The cute little girl from Adventures of Babysitting, you can get her wet. And she can talk just fine, and you don't want to eat her like a piece of chicken.
Cut the mic. From the guy who brought you cute Haley Joel Osment.
We're not with these.
Oh.
Alright,
Oh, no. Oh,
I got
no.
sidetracked on that
Oh,
one.
no.
Yeah, clearly.
Oh, no.
That was.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm just going to use what he says, an argument against himself. The chicken, like, it even gives you, like, some angst, because you know Moana's going to do it, so it gives you some angst to, like, what's going to happen to the chicken. Gizmo, like, even when you see him, you know there's bad parts, too, though. With the chicken, you just think maybe there's another cute chicken out there.
With Hey Hey, it's a Disney/Pixar character, so you know it's going to be fucking cute. But with Gizmo, the ultimate design came down to a risk. There's a good chance they could have done that design and people hated it. But no, that movie came out and people fucking loved it, and it sold. And Gizmo is one of the most iconic, cute fucking characters in a movie.
I give it to Gizmo.
Yeah.
I mean, Gizmo was going to win anyway.
Yeah. So,
Maybe I should
how
have
many
said
do you have
Pikachu.
now?
Pikachu would have
I
been.
still got like 2.
I have 3, 3, 2.
Best Disney Channel original movie.
Johnny Tsunami.
Luck of the Irish.
Brink.
Ooh, we got a
30
Soul
seconds
Skater.
to Brink.
I mean, what
That
is
is-
a better movie than a movie about a group of kids that are doing something they're super passionate about? And that's what that movie is. They're just super passionate about skating. The dude doesn't want to like get sponsored. He just wants to be a soul skater. That's who he is. That movie is telling kids that you can just do what you want to do. You don't have to like pursue it for money. You don't have to pursue it for fame. You can just be who you are and inherently be good at it and fucking rule. And Val sucks.
Amen.
Time.
That was my question, and I did not plan on saying that.
I wanted to say Smart House.
Smart House. Oh fuck.
Yeah. So, Luck of the Irish is the best Disney original movie because it's Disney. It's about family, and this movie actually shows how deep back your family can be and how important they can be in your life and how you're, raised. It's got sports. I really like sports, so you kind of understand the conflict with that metaphor going on. It also ends really well. They're trying to kill this leprechaun. It's a great use of a leprechaun. I'll get to the end once I get to my 15 seconds. I think it's just the best movie. I remember it.
Is it too late to change my answer to True Confessions?
Smart House.
Too late to change my answer to Smart House? Okay. Because Johnny Tsunami is actually the best answer. It's about a boy who's a fish out of water, literally. He grew up surfing in Hawaii, and he has to move somewhere very cold, and he has to take up snowboarding, and he has to learn a completely new thing. Like you have to lead with the front foot instead of the back foot, or maybe it's different. But anywho, he grows and learns, and we all grow and learn with him. And it's a very growing and learning thing, and we all love it. And we love him, and he's Johnny Tsunami, and you should love him too.
This turned into such a shit show already. Only had 2 beers.
All right, so Brink has family elements too. It has the aspect of his family coming to terms with the fact that he just wants to skate and be a burnout for life. And the Disney movie about being a fish out of water was actually called The 13th Year. That's my time.
Alright, first of all, what size
Who gives a fuck about rollerblading? It's possibly the worst action sport there is because it's just people with like,
Preach.
soap shoes or whatever. At least with Luck of the Irish at the end, the villain's like, oh, you're gonna send me back to the land of my father? Well, that's Cleveland, and that's probably the worst place you can go, so it's a great joke to end a movie, and Disney got it.
Literally no one remembers Luck of the Irish. Johnny Tsunami was a cultural icon for about 6 months, and people still remember him. And it's a movie that people go back to watch today when they bring up Disney Plus. It's even in the most watched thing.
Rainer.
I knew a guy when I moved here. He's from Hawaii, and we literally called him John. That was what his name was.
Originally, when I wrote that question down, was planning on going with Don't Look Under the Bed. That's actually my favorite.
Smart House is
I
the
think this
correct
is the
answer.
one.
Smart House is a good one as well.
It is.
Yes. Yes.
Rainer, if you get this one, you move on.
Yes.
Well, the true answer should be True Confessions, starring Shia LaBeouf as the mentally handicapped boy. Oh, tearjerker.
Wish
Good movies.
upon,
That's a good.
because
13th year. Good
Alyssa
pull
Lanier.
on that one. I liked you bringing
going
that
on?
up.
Read it loud.
Okay.
This is my favorite question ever.
Change one word of a movie title. It must be more than one word, and it can't have the something. To penis and make it better.
Last penis on the left.
Monty Python and the Holy Penis.
See, I had something pop in mind, but it doesn't make it better. It's funny, but it doesn't make it better. Penis booth.
What?
Penis booth.
Not to be confused with phone booth. I'm
Okay.
referencing photo booth, the Robin Williams.
Okay.
Okay.
Point to Chris.
How's that point to Chris?
Wait, are we not arguing it?
Thank God that was going to be tough.
Yeah. 'Cause I've never actually watched that movie. It makes me uncomfortable. I turned it off 20 minutes into it.
So
I would argue
makes
that
me
mine's
uncomfortable.
funnier because it involves multiple penises if you think about it.
I think it would be good to
before
have the
I
penis
knew-
for
I
the
think
lady
penis
lake and the
booth also.
nunnery. You know,
Before I knew we
Insinuates
weren't
multiple
arguing it,
penises.
before I knew
Yeah.
we weren't going to argue it, I was going to say Pee Wee's Big Penis.
they already made
Big
that.
penis
dude.
adventure.
Cringiest movie of all time. Penis booth.
Cringiest movie of all time?
Cringiest.
Sausage Party.
Damn it, that's so good.
The Interview.
Jurassic Park: Fallen Kingdom. That's the
30
second one, right?
seconds. The second of the
The new
the
ones, yeah.
reboot. Yeah.
Jurassic Park: Fallen Kingdom is awful. There is not one scene in that doesn't make me cringe because of the direction and the writing and like how they decided that this was going to work. They literally all should have died. And then they give a velociraptor a fucking laser tracking thing. So you point a gun at somebody and then the velociraptor attacks them. Just shoot the motherfucker with the gun with the laser that's pointed at the person. There's no point not to do that. It's cringy. Just that whole fucking idea of it, to make these velociraptors weapons is just dumb and cringy. Everything about it is bad. No, it's
Was it me?
you, yeah.
My-
You
Yeah,
did,
it
yeah.
is.
He did Sausage Party.
Yeah, you answered first.
Interview,
Did I?
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I thought so.
You did.
You
did.
actually put
You did.
you mentioned a Seth Rogen movie that made me think of The Interview. Speaking of The Interview, fuck that movie. It's a 90-minute dick and fart joke fest, which is cringy in and of itself. But then the movie went on to cause an international incident with South Korea or North Korea, to where it got pulled from theaters and had to go straight to streaming, which made it this big thing. And I watched it, and it was just a bunch of cringy dick and fart jokes. So I cringed because it was an international incident thing, and then I cringed because of the movie is just full of dumb, bro-level shit jokes. And so yeah, it's a double inception of cringe.
Sausage Party is one of the cringiest movies, if not the cringiest movie ever made, because A, it took like 10 plus years to get that movie off the ground and funded. B, it's nothing but like sexual innuendo and racism in food form, and it ends in the most awkward fucking food orgy. And I personally know people that went to see that movie with their parents. I can't think of a single more cringy thing than watching the end of that movie, a grocery store food orgy with your fucking mom. That's so weird. And like, I don't remember either of your two movies. Good.
I think The Interview causing international incident is pretty not cringy. That's pretty badass. Sausage Party, at least it's animated, so like it gets away from the cringy. Jurassic Park: Fallen Kingdom is just so bad. They escape a volcano. They have lasers with guns pointed so the Velociraptor. It's stupid. Just shoot the fucker. Like it's cringy. It's bad.
It's cringe in and of itself to cause an international incident with a dick and fart joke. And I'm going to go ahead and give up some time to say I watched The Devil's Rejects with my mom, and that was pretty cringy in and of itself. But I just wanted to get that off my chest.
Cheers to that.
Cringeception for The Interview.
Oh, that's funny.
Sausage Party is literally just an hour and a half of like, oh, I'm a weirdo, I want to get some buns. Like, it is the fucking lowest brow humor, and it is so fucking stupid. That movie is just so cringy, and I remember turning it on. I don't remember who all was in the room, but everybody was unhappy about it. I think you were in the room for that.
I've seen it. I hate it.
It's really
But
good.
I am going to give the point to Raider.
Yes! All right, I'm gonna get up and pee.
He argued it better. Even though I feel like you chose better.
I don't remember what Rainer picked.
The newest Jurassic Park movie that sucks.
What's the score?
4-2.
Okay, so we continue.
Yeah. Either or.
Sam Raimi or John Carpenter?
John Carpenter.
Do I need to say?
Nope. You got 30 seconds.
Two similar directors.
Not to shit on John Carpenter, because John Carpenter is a great director, but I feel like John Carpenter hit a point where he fell off and was no longer mentioned outside of his movies he did 25, 30 years ago, where Sam Raimi is still a household name. Sam Raimi still has it as a director, and redeveloped the idea of horror comedy and shaped it to what it is now. I feel like that is a bigger effect than anything John Carpenter really has outside of maybe influential soundtracks and a dip into body humor. Not body humor, body horror. You know what I mean.
I don't think that Sam Raimi has dipped into the breadth and depth of subject matter that John Carpenter has. Not to mention that John Carpenter has also scored most, if not all, of the movies that he has directed. He's done horror, he's done science fiction, he's done body horror, he's done the suspense films with like Assault and Precinct 13. I think as far as a more well-rounded director, I think you'll be hard-pressed.
I just think when it comes down to it, Sam Raimi's films live on in a higher regard, and it has more of a cult status and a bigger following. They're more, his characters in the films have a larger grasp of household names and household recognizably. I don't know the word.
Recognizably.
Yes, that's the word I'm going for. There's a word. It starts with this, and I don't know how it ends.
Also, I think it also goes to say that the impact that John Carpenter has had in both kickstarting the slasher genre for the modern vernacular and also the dystopian science fiction genre in the modern vernacular with films like They Live and Escape from New York.
Carpenter.
Yeah.
I think if he would have gone for his work as a producer, probably might have got that. That's why I went with it. It's like they're both really great. That's why I made that question.
Yeah, let's see. Some of them already up and on my page.
If I can be honest, Sam Raimi's a much better producer than a director. There, I said it.
I like Raimi a lot.
Yeah, he's had a
I
very
feel
large
like
impact.
If Chris would have gone into like Spider-Man and other things, it'd be like he doesn't just stick to
Horror. Yeah. He does a lot of horror.
He does.
This is
But I mean, they would like touted his return to horror.
fucking,
things like
what is
that.
The Quick and the Dead?
Yeah, that's
Dude, that was a
It's funny though
great
that you
movie.
say that because I'm way more familiar with John Carpenter than I am Sam.
John
Raimi.
Carpenter.
You just got to it first.
Yeah, you could have got me on that because I said
Okay.
the breadth and depth and like
Best
He's done it for a
Christian
lot of stuff.
Slater role. Remember, this is film.
Do I have to know the name of the character because I can't remember the name of the character?
pump up the volume.
Fuck! You son of a bitch!
Damn, I'm thinking of the computer.
I hate you. I should have just said it. Son of a bitch. That's such a good movie.
Yeah.
It's such a good
I
movie.
love that movie.
Nobody knows about that movie, but that's such a good
The
movie.
soundtrack is great too.
Fuck. Whatever the fucking whatever character he plays in fucking Heathers, I don't fucking care.
Okay.
Happy Hard Harry.
Isn't he in a movie also where he's like a skateboarder or some shit?
Yeah, Gleaming the Cube.
Yeah. Okay. But with feathers. Fuck.
Okay.
It's on you.
What was the question?
Best Christian Slater role.
And role.
Roll?
Best Christian Slater role. I feel like that's an important distinction.
Who better to play the fucking smarmy, nihilistic, just fucking angry teenage angst kid that just wants everyone else to kill themselves than Christian Slater? I mean, he has the look, he has the vernacular, he has the mood, he has the hair for it. he is that fucking character, and he embodies it so well that I can't envision anybody else playing that role. Possibly, nobody would bring the not only the nihilistic charm to that role, but the just maybe bitterness to that role that role deserved, and God.
What if instead of being totally dejected, that character from Heathers started a pirate radio station? That's how we get Happy Hard Harry from Pump Up the Volume. He brought a broad depth of underground rock music to his local area using his shortwave radio station, and evaded the FCC by broadcasting on the go in a Jeep. It's a pretty great role. It's a pretty great movie. And I think it's the highlight.
I swear, our movie was better. You'll see. Oh, I do.
I think the role in Pump Up Volume easily could have been played by a Matthew Broderick type, because he's very much more on the nerdy scale, where in Heathers it's very much that social outcast, and at that time, the 1980s, whenever it's that fart. God, I just want to watch Pump Up the Volume now, though. That's such a good movie.
Let's go home and watch that later.
Yeah.
I'm
so upset you said that.
It's legit my favorite movie of this. Legit though, he may be nerdy, but he also has teeth, and I think you needed an actor like Christian Slater with that kind of malice behind him, that fake Jack Nicholson-ness to him, so that you could bring that pirate radio guy behind.
God, this is hard for the wrong reasons.
Whose question was that? Was that Rainer's question?
That was mine.
Okay, so you had Pump Up the Volume in your back pocket from the get-go.
Oh yeah, dog.
You did say role, and I feel like Chris gave me more why Christian Slater fit the role, and you gave me more why it was a great character. So I'm gonna give the point to Chris.
Shit, I guess I'm out.
Does that mean I can go smoke now?
Does that mean I can go home now?
Dope.
I'm out.
You have
I'm free.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
best win-loss
Yeah.
record.
You have the
Do
easy.
you want Chris or do you want Ray?
What has to happen? I don't understand.
You'll be in a speed round with one of those two.
Why am I not with Corey?
Because that's done.
I think at this
Noah
point,
dropped out, so that round doesn't count.
yeah, I think at this point it's me and you,
They
and
had
then Rainer
to
and Corey, or
play to determine who moved on. You and Corey just auto moved on.
So Corey gets one of them and I get one of them.
But you get your choice.
Gotcha. I'll take Rainer.
God, I love yelling at Corey, so that works.
You had a good draw right there. That was good for you. I was geared up to go against Corey this fight.
I'm so upset that I took the time to
Well, you may still.
that I was just a counter, but I don't know.
You should have a Disney night, a Disney one, and I'll do it.
Okay. Are you in on that?
I'll do it. I know. all
That's
Disney
may as well be
stuff.
fucking horror for me all over again. Sure, let's fucking go.
It'll be good.
Shit, Brian doesn't watch for.
I love Disney.
I could do that.
You can do it all day.
If you want to judge it, I'll be in it.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
I'm gonna get another beer while Chris hopefully gets right back.
I mean, typically, yeah. And then I had to read them like, they look just that melt the man and stuff. One drinks from water. Oh, that's Sean Butler.
I've met you like once, I believe.
That's Matt.
My memory's horrible.
Yeah, you smoked that a long time.
Short term, anyway.
I think you were at like
I would rather just straight up.
Oh my.
Oh, yeah.
popped in for a minute.
We'll all smooth it out this time. First year is definitely rough.
He gets him for 11 days in a row.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay, whatever.
Does that sound fair to you?
Whatever, that's what I'm saying. The hell it's got to do with me, man. It's not a generalization. I mean, that's not how they get away. Sure, totally, I agree. Yeah. You know what I mean? Damn.
Still trying to get you
Yeah. And the first day, you're always smart.
What'd you say? Corey and I both thought we were going to big give each other next. So we're just like sitting pretty the whole time, and then it's like it gets the end, and it's like you're gonna get wet. What the fuck did I do to deserve this?
It's because they didn't want to like cosplay.
I do too. Especially, I think it should go to the parent, but it's still in the original home.
It's not all the kids.
Chris, you and I are just like the same.
Yeah.
So like I just sit up here. I was like, I feel like we're on the same level, so we just have a straight up fair argument.
No.
Sometimes you, like I told them, I said, you know the 1936 film?
There you go.
No. No, I don't.
So we got Raider and Brian up next.
So bad.
This bag goes into this bag.
Why were they separated?
Questions you and Corey picked were in this bag.
Oh, I thought you were doing a whole mixed bag because we were over here praying the whole time our questions were going to get drawn. Apparently, there was a 100% chance that wasn't going to happen.
But now they're all in. So you might get a gym question.
He didn't get into trouble when he knew Joe.
What are we going to?
5.
And how much
Yeah,
time
I
do we
mean,
get?
It's just say 30, 15.
It's a speed race. For time's sake, if one of you answers and one of you's taking a while, I will put 30 seconds on the clock.
Okay, I saw that.
Damn, dude, he's got notes.
Have a seat.
I hope I get your question of what's my favorite movie.
We did get a Brian question, I believe.
I'm upset we only drew one of my questions.
No, we drew like 3 of mine.
So, best Ben Stiller character non-comedy.
Walter Mitty.
Now, the movie's a comedy, because, like... So are you saying I can't pick a Ben Stiller comedy movie?
Ben Stiller in a non-comedy role is how I interpret
It is, yes.
Yeah.
That's how I interpret
So
it as well.
try to choose a serious role of Ben Stiller, just because mostly he does comedies.
Yeah. I don't know if this will count, but his character in Heavyweights, I don't think he's trying to be funny. I mean, it comes across, but I think it's a serious...
Well, if you want to go with that,
Yeah.
that's fine. I'll take it because I'll argue it. That's fine.
You're cool with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's all I
30
can think
seconds.
of.
That's fine.
30 seconds to reign.
Ben Stiller's character in Heavyweights, it might be a comedy movie, it might be a kids movie, but he plays it pretty like as what a trainer would do, as somebody that wants kids to lose weight, as somebody that wants people to work. It comes across as bombastic, but his character in that is a very serious character. He's trying to be a winner, and I think that's not very comedic to be a winner. That's usually what losers are made for, and I think he does a great job portraying that role in that movie, taking over the fat camp.
The fat camp.
Time.
Ben Stiller's character in Heavyweights is so goddamn funny, I still quote it to this day all the time. Lunch has been canceled due to lack of hustle. It's fucking hilarious. You can quote it over and over. It's so funny. Walter Mitty, he takes on a real standard role where he's going for a girl, he has a work job, he has anxiety. There's the example of non-comedy. The guy's anxious the whole movie. He's trying to save his job, he's trying to get the girl. He's doing every real life thing that people do, going to work with a briefcase, wearing a suit. It's non-comedic. Time.
In Heavyweights, he's trying to own this fat camp. He's trying to have a 9-to-5 job and own this thing. He's trying to get kids to not just be fat asses and try to work. So you might have to cancel lunch. You might have to cut out some calories. I think he does a great job as a trainer in that movie. That's exactly what I think a trainer would do at a fat camp. You kind of have to make him work.
That being said, his use in the movie Heavyweights was written around his comedy. They put those lines in there for him to be funny. So that's why the Walter Mitty, his lines were put in there for a serious role. We're going to do a different side of Ben Stiller for once. Totally different than Dodgeball Heavyweights.
Point to Brian.
I couldn't think of anything.
That's fine.
Food.
Question 2. Best car wreck.
What?
Best car wreck.
Best car wreck? The wreck at the end of Nightcrawler. Or near the end of Nightcrawler.
I still can't believe she told him what he looked like too. And she said it looked like
I'm going to start the clock. 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take it to the end because I'm just trying to think of something. I'll just take the car wreck in Fight Club.
30 seconds to you.
That car wreck is iconic because it's a psychological thriller and you're actually on the edge of your seat thinking, is this motherfucker actually going to crash the car? It's more about the thrill of, is he going to crash it, is he not, as opposed to just the impact thrill of just, oh shit, another car explosion. So you're wondering, is it his alter ego taking it? Is he going to kill anyone in the crash? You really have no idea what direction this guy's going in. Hands off the wheel, and yet it actually happens. The car goes off the road. Edward Norton is freaking the fuck out.
The car crash and the scene, the car chase and all that at the end of Nightcrawler really brings the movie together because you're not sure if Jake Gyllenhaal is actually a sociopath, and if he has a friend, so you might think he has some empathy towards them, but he doesn't. It basically shows his true colors where he's just his own self. It's basically how you find out he's a complete sociopath. Fight Club, there are so many better scenes that show if it's Tyler or if it's not Tyler. I think the crash in Nightcrawler just basically shows what the movie's about. It brings it all together and you realize the whole point of the character.
I think the creepiness about the crash in Fight Club is you've got a guy driving the car that takes his hands off the wheel and then is arguing with his own self. That's an epic moment in movie history, and it, not only for us as the viewers, but for the guys in the actual car. They are viewing a guy talking to himself with his hands off the wheel who's driving them off the road.
In Nightcrawler, you have the scumbag Jake Gyllenhaal driving around. He has a buddy that's helping him, and you learn that he doesn't give a shit about him. He's trying to just basically get the best shot to make the most money, and it's iconic just for how it brings the movie to like a halt, and it shows the true character of the main character, which was Jake Gyllenhaal's Nightcrawler.
I am going to give it to Nightcrawler. I like the point about bringing the movie together. And
That's a correct judgment. That wasn't mine. Once we started talking, I wish I would have went with the fucking like crash in Collateral when he like crashes the car in the grass. That's such a cool scene. God damn it.
I can't even remember the car crash.
Okay. Best film involving being stranded somewhere.
Castaway.
He said it first.
Euro Trip.
30 seconds to Euro Trip.
Euro Trip is a great buddy comedy movie. They basically get stranded in Europe. They have to go around. You basically get all these stereotypes, so that's fine. It's a comedy movie. That's kind of, you play on those tropes. It has great scenes, the whole story where he wants to meet this girl and he can't, and they just go all around. It's a good travel movie. You see all these different places. They get stranded, and there's more than just one person, so you actually get dialogue and whatnot, not just some guy trying to pull his teeth out because his tooth hurts. And fuck FedEx.
Don't go. Yeah, I was going to talk to Raider. Kudos to you for saying the word Castaway so fast on my own question. Like, you almost said it before I did, and that's fucked up because I wrote the question. Like, goddamn. I mean, like, I'm really impressed how fast you said the word Castaway. Jesus Christ.
It's a great movie.
Yes.
I would have said Escape from New York.
It's just hard to fucking think fast, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so, I'll make this easy here. Listen, Euro Trip, yeah, he said it. Tropes, hilarity, comedy, slapstick comedy. I agree with all those things. And did I laugh at Euro Trip? Hell yeah, I laughed. I laughed when he just said the answer. But the question at hand here is the best. What's the best movie? When you're comparing Euro Trip to Castaway, I mean, it's not even close. It's not even close stars-wise. Castaway is one that we all still watch late at night. It's going to come on TV for 20 more years, 30 more years. Euro Trip, it's just another one of those forgotten about. I was going to say American Pie. It's not even on the level of American Pie. It's just a slapstick for that year that was funny, and it's gone and done.
Castaway is about somebody stranded, but a lot of complaints is it's just one scene, one person doing the same thing over and over and over again. He has to use a fucking volleyball as dialogue. At least Euro Trip, you have different characters bouncing off back and forth, so it's not just the same thing over and over. They can move. They, try to get out of their situation while...
Now on to Castaway being an epic part of Tom Hanks' career. Half the movie is silent. It's him on the island, and it's just literally him acting. He lost shitloads of weight for the movie, like upwards of 60 pounds or more for the movie. It's one of his better pieces of acting. It pulls you through the whole thing.
Rainer, valiant effort, but for sure Castaway.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
valiant.
I was the answer I wanted to say. So.
I went backwards. I should have went Castaway pros on my longer round and then shit on that because I like there wasn't enough time to say it, but fair enough.
Another Corey question, I believe.
Shit.
Most underrated sci-fi movie.
Starship Troopers.
Here you go. Here you go. Most underrated sci-fi movie. Okay.
I know the right answer.
Say your answer, dude. We all know you're in a second.
Me?
Yeah. I just heard it.
Let me ask the judge and you this. Does the movie Her count, considering it's science fiction of a computer?
Yeah, that's a sci-fi movie. It's more
You'll count it?
tech-based, but yeah, I would
Most
count that.
underrated sci-fi movie. Yeah, it is. Are you going with her?
Yeah, I'm going with her. What was?
It's Dark City.
I don't know enough
City,
about it.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
What year is Dark City?
95.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to
96.
look into it. I
It's
don't
it's
know enough
good.
about it.
It's a good movie.
If you do watch it,
It's
watch
very,
the
it's very
director's cut.
science fiction noir.
Okay. Do you own it?
Yes.
I'll need to borrow that.
It's good.
Okay, for sure. 30 seconds to Brian and her.
Here's one of my pet peeves about Her. It's one of my favorite movies, and yeah, I know a lot about it. I can't bring it up to anyone. This is where it gets underrated. When I bring it up, everyone's, oh, that's gay. You like that gay movie where that guy falls in love with a computer? It's about so much more than falling in love with a computer, and that's what makes it underrated, which is the question at hand here. So, the things about Her, Spike Jonze wrote the movie. His vision of the future is what I believe to be so spot on. People stuck to their cell phones. It's not about falling in love with your cell phone. It's about being stuck to it. It's about the fashion that he used in the movie. It's about people not even being able to handwrite a letter. So there's a company called... Fucking love that
Am I the only person?
Rainer, this is literally the moment you've been waiting
movie. All year for.
I'm glad I got to use it. Don't start. Starship Troopers is the most underrated sci-fi movie of all time. It was a box office flop, and the best thing about sci-fi is it looks into the future, but it also makes fun of itself. And that movie literally is a satire on everything about the sci-fi genre. It has gore. The CGI from 1996 or 97 just holds up today. You can watch it over and over again. The acting is campy, but it's exactly what that film needs. It's just a great story overall. You watch people like lose themselves, so you have that art going on. It's just the greatest movie ever made. Nobody likes it because
How many seconds do I have? Sorry, don't hit it.
15.
Jesus, how can I fit this into 15 seconds?
Adverbs.
lolly, lolly,
We're
lolly.
talking
Get
to
your
Google.
adverbs here.
The thought of technology learning is what the whole movie is about. Can't you see that's where the future is actually going? And he called that so far in advance. You go into the movie her thinking it's about a guy who loves his computer. You leave the movie going, holy shit, this guy created a dystopian kind of future where people are stuck to their cell phones. A cell phone can learn.
Pretty sure Her was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. Joaquin Phoenix's performance as great. Scarlett Johansson as Her is great. Nobody talks about Starship Troopers. People just hate it because of what it is. It's a funny movie. It's a satirical movie, and that's always underrated for what it is because people just don't understand it.
Starship Troopers.
I've never actually watched her. Your
I actually
description of her made me think
I watched Her like a month ago. It was I liked it.
I love
Jim would know. Jim, what's that
2 to
movie?
2?
Yeah,
Is it
the
called,
ending
like, Cherry
though, I
Valley
kind of
or
was
some
like,
shit?
it seemed like a cop out, and I think I read like they kind of had to like redo how like a couple scenes or whatever, or like Scarlett Johansson like
got a
had to
Brian
like
question.
just read, like it was
Yeah,
it was a good movie. It was a good
How am
movie.
I remembering who gave these?
Probably because you just wrote them
Because it
today.
says what is Brian's favorite
But
movie.
I mean, like, I wrote a lot today.
True, true.
Because you're drawing right now from a mix of
Everybody.
Brian questions and
Everybody.
Corey questions.
No,
Everybody.
I was going to say.
Even my own. Most accurate portrayal of outer space.
Interstellar.
Fuck. This would be good for the movie that
You
hasn't
have
been
until
made.
I'm done peeing to
Perfect.
answer.
I can get a new beer soon. It's great.
Yeah, get some go juice.
Dude, if they had made this movie that I want to say, it's basically Interstellar, but let me think here. Best portrayal of outer space. Apollo 13.
Is that your answer?
Yeah.
Fair answer.
Give me a new beer, please. PBR. My wallet's in my jacket.
Did you get your card back?
Corey paid for that, so yeah. I didn't actually use my card.
See, I thought you still opened a tab.
No, Corey got that one for you.
Well, it's where?
Foil jacket. Dude, fire Doc Holiday. I'm fucking tired of it.
I think it's a money thing, man. I don't think Marshall is ever going to be what we want them to be.
Well, they
because
can
we
never.
can't hang. We can't fucking
They
hang, dude.
can. COSA's the worst conference in
Yeah.
literal college football. But yeah,
Which
dude,
is
every
fucking
time he goes on the road against some shit team, he just... At halftime, he literally said this. He said, this game's going to be about field position. He didn't say my offense is bad or we need to do better. He basically said, I'm going to punt the ball 10 to 7. And I was just like, oh my god, you can't fucking say that. That's so bad.
What, Nazis on YouTube?
No, yeah, those are bad. Yeah.
Okay. Why can't you say Nazis on YouTube?
Because it's offensive.
Did you say anything?
Apollo 13.
Okay. The correct answer is 2001.
Damn straight. That's what I said.
I fucking love that movie, obviously.
Okay, so I get to go first? Yes. Apollo 13 is the best portrayal of space because it actually happened in space. They are trying to go to the moon, everything kind of messes up on their way to the moon, and they have to use all their engineerical and scientific backgrounds to fix their problems so they can just get back home because space is a never-ending expanse, and we never had that problem happen in space as people. It's one of the first missions to go past, the orbit of Earth. It's about space and being in space. It is a real thing that happened in space. It is the best portrayal of space in a movie.
I'm going to go on the goodness of Interstellar, which is, compared to this movie, this movie only goes to the moon and back. That's one little bit of outer space. Interstellar is going to take you beyond Pluto. It's going to take you into a black hole. And not only are they going to take you into these things, they're going to use actual math. They used equations for this movie. Current knowledge, the best they could, to see what the beginning of time looks like at a black hole. They attempted actual space travel, and they attempted to add an actual dimension. These are all based on up-to-date theorems. They put it into a movie. Some people don't like that. Some people do.
Interstellar is like a theoretical thing of what could happen. Yes, they do use time dilation, but it's basically just, oh, this could happen, this could happen. Apollo 13 happened. It's what happens in space. We can't go that far. We can't go past Pluto. Things happen, you have to deal with it. That's what space is. That's what happens in space. It's space. It's... Thank you. I'll just... Okay.
Although that's what happened in space, his argument is just simply Apollo 13 actually happened. That's really his argument at hand. The question is, what's the best portrayal? The best portrayal is, show me what a black hole looks like. Show me what time travel looks like. Show me what it looks like to rip the fabric of gravity and time and do something about it. Show me...
I missed all that argument. Did you name drop Tyson?
Well, I said they used math, and I was speaking about him because they did use his math, yeah.
This is going to be a controversial one. I feel it now. The question was most accurate portrayal of outer space. Rayner hit the nail on the head, saying Interstellar uses a lot of theory. Apollo 13 actually happened. Rayner. All right.
I don't know how I feel about that one, but I'm not the judge.
Well, my problem
because space is
how
nothing but
accurate
theoretical.
can the theory be?
But
space is entirely theoretical.
It happened in space.
It happened in
That's
space.
all I can say.
right, that's the part that bothers me is when only your argument is it was just in space as a thing in space. It's just a thing in space. It happened in space.
It's a
just a
thing
in
that
space.
actually happened.
Yeah.
It is the most accurate portrayal.
That's fine. We're on, man.
3-2.
Let's go.
So 3-2.
It is.
Yeah. All right. It's like the sportswoman. You come back.
Yeah. Here's one I put in. I've sent it to the group several times. Nobody's picked it, so we're getting it out of the way now. What studio should Disney buy next?
A24. Is that it?
Yeah,
No.
that is.
Yeah, that is. that is what you just said.
Yep. A24.
I have a slight knowledge issue with studios on this. I'm gonna have to like ask a question.
That's fine. I'll answer it if it isn't unfair.
The difference between a studio.
I'm gonna go Pete.
They could buy a studio from a company.
Because my brain wants to say Lionsgate, but I don't know if that's saying the correct thing.
You can say Lionsgate, yes.
Okay. Then I guess that's what I'm gonna say.
For those,
Yeah, I don't know if you heard Luke. I think Lionsgate is a distributor.
oh,
That's why I asked. I don't fucking know.
is it?
I think so.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know if they had like at this point upgraded enough to have their own studios. Why I was asking, not necessarily fucking up on them.
It actually helps you
I don't
that
think
it's
that-
not counted.
Yeah, I don't think they.
So think of another one. There's a great one.
I can only think of one that I would answer with, and I don't know why Disney would buy that.
There's two great ones.
When it comes to studios, all
Once
the ones I think of,
Rainer comes out, I'm gonna put 30 seconds on the clock.
all the ones I can think of went under years ago. Like Miramax. Miramax went under.
They could buy that though.
Yeah, they could.
They could buy a studio that's gone under. They could. Never mind. I'm not gonna.
Oh, I
say
think I know
names.
the one you're thinking of.
30 seconds on the clock.
Wait, what did you pick?
He hasn't yet.
Okay.
He said one that was a distributor.
What?
What did you pick?
A24. Never thought I'd hear Jimmy Buffett here. Honest to God, I never thought I'd hear Jimmy.
10. Time. Go with Lionsgate.
Can I ask you the one you were thinking of?
Sony.
See, I was thinking Universal.
Sony. They get Spider-Man. They don't Spider-Man.
Yeah, but Universal gives them such a hell of a
But I thought Universal was connected already. That's the reason I didn't say that. I don't understand.
Oh, okay.
I thought it
Yeah,
was connected
it's hard to
because
tell
it's
what
like
Disney does and does not own.
No, they don't own Universal. They don't own
A24.
They don't own Lionsgate. They don't own Bloomhouse. They don't own
I'm not gonna lie, A24 is the only studio I thought was actually a studio
Sony.
that they don't own.
They don't own. It's like an insider.
Where's Bloomhouse
It's like
Edition?
Bloomhouse. They don't own Bad Robot.
Oh, Bad Robots actually.
Warner
that's not
Brothers.
bad. Bad Robots not bad.
yeah, Warner Brothers is a
Oh, yeah, you totally did say Bloomhouse. For some reason in my head I heard Blue Mouse, and I was like, I'm unfamiliar with that.
Let's bear in the big blue house's little
I'm
brother.
gonna eat Michelle's pizza while she's gone.
You won't do it.
I mean, my answer is not valid because it's not a fucking studio, dude. So like,
Okay.
there's just,
Point to Rainer.
I mean, it's that whole fact check thing again. So I don't.
Dude, if you would have picked anything, you probably would have won.
Yeah,
A24.
literally.
A24 was such a terrible fucking answer.
How?
Yeah, it's
How-
awful.
What would Disney do
It
with
is
any of those
literally-
properties?
This is
The
what they. This
only-
is what,
What would
I
Disney
think.
do with any of those properties?
Here's what I think they would do. All right, so Disney wants to own the whole fucking global market
Disney
of
doesn't do
entertainment.
adult
That's
films.
what. No, that's what
Are
they
you
want
a
to do.
reader?
So buy A24.
Are you a reader?
And then just have those little indie films pop out and just have like Disney at the end. It's not a bad
They
idea.
own the Weinstein Company.
It's not a bad idea.
It's not out of their wheelhouse to own an indie film distributor.
A24 does a bunch of like
This is a
indie
Rainer
movies
question.
that like, and they're good. They're just like weird. They're just like we'll just let you make this movie. Fuck it.
They owned Miramax.
Okay, which book series needs to be made into a movie?
Your
Hey,
question.
I picked that one. I'm not gonna pick what I think it should be because they already did that.
Yes, it cannot have already been made.
The Forever War series.
All I can think of is the wrong answer.
Why am I in a movie debate about fucking books right now?
Because they're supposed to be movies. That's Hollywood has no original ideas anymore.
So stupid.
And that movie fucking sucks. Yeah.
No, it has to be like a 100-part series movie. The whole thing.
15. 10.
I'm gonna go with Chuck Palahniuk Lullaby.
I was gonna say, I've been to your house and I've
not
seen your
bad.
bookshelf. I know there's at least 6 books on that shelf that are not movies.
That's not bad. I'll take because it said series. I'll take that out. Just book.
It said book or book
Okay.
series.
Yeah. Okay. That works.
Well, book/book
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
I assume that slash
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
or.
Yeah. No, it's both. All three. all both combined.
Palahniuk is a proven entity. He gave us Fight Club. Therefore, he can give us another banger all over again. Lullaby is an underrated Palahniuk book that I think would succeed in today's film because of the thrill of the plot of the movie, which is the whisper in someone's ear before they go to bed that predicts what may happen to them in the future. It's got this creepy dullness to it that would translate well into film today.
I'll just go with the Forever War. It's a great piece of sci-fi. It's actually supposed to be made into a movie. The property's been thrown around. What it does is they're fighting an unknown enemy, and it uses time dilation. So this guy goes and he fights, and it's like 2 years for him, but he comes back to Earth. His mom's dead. He goes and fights for a couple years. It comes back. It's been 500 years. It does time dilation. There's not any real sci-fi that does time dilation like that. That may be Interstellar, but this is just focusing on one person that keeps coming back. I think it would be great, especially with like a kind of faceless enemy and no idea.
I think I'm good, actually. It's good, though.
I think we have lots of sci-fi movies already regarding time travel and things like that. I think what the world needs right now is to shake it up with another thriller type movie, which is a movie where someone whispers something in someone's ear and they could die the next day. This type of movie, like I said, Palahniuk already delivered once with Fight Club. It's the same writer. People will get excited over the writer of Fight Club.
Yeah, Lullaby's a good book, but I think Survivor, maybe even Rant. Rant would be a great movie if you want to use Chuck Palahniuk. Hano would be good with all those different things. I just like the idea of time dilation and having to come back to a different world every time you go fight for that world, and it's different. You know, it's been 300 years for them too, for you. And there's just better Palahniuk books that could be movies.
Brian, for sure. Rainer, you gave me why I should read that book, but Brian, you told me why that book would make a better movie.
Okay. Me and Chris have talked. Have you read Rant before?
Oh yeah, dude.
That's
Read
the
'em.
movie. That's the movie.
Well, you know what's weird is Choke was always my favorite
And
Palahniuk
it's
book.
a movie apparently.
What is
a
it?
movie, dude?
4 to
Yeah,
3?
that's a movie.
Yes, it's 4 to 3.
Apparently, it's like Johnny Depp or somebody in it.
No,
That's
listen,
what Chris
man,
said. I haven't
it's
seen it.
fucking bad.
Is it bad?
They came out with Choke after Fight Club because Choke really is the next best Palahniuk book. And the movie, like, I was like so gung-ho, dude, and it was like only out in like Lexington, and I was like drove to Lexington. I was like, I'm fucking watching this thing. And I watched it, and I was like watching it, I'm like, what the fuck am I watching right now? It was like they made it into like a spooky slapstick like B movie, and I was like, man, fuck this.
No, that's
They
weird.
fucked up like my favorite book.
I think this is a Jim question.
Fuck,
I
it's
could be
about
wrong.
best wrestling movies.
Jesus Christ.
Better body of work. So it's an either or. Seth Rogen or Will Ferrell?
Will Ferrell.
Or. So ors are what we're. I'm just kidding. Start over. So I have Seth Rogen. You said
Will Ferrell.
Better body of work, Seth Rogen or Will Ferrell? I know who you're saying.
Don't worry about that. You'll hear.
I picked Will Ferrell.
Yeah, he's got Will Ferrell. I'm thinking of how to like use my time.
Yeah, use the whole timer, dude. That's what I kept doing.
I think Seth Rogen has a better body of work because he kind of came out of nowhere. It's not Will Ferrell, who already was a star with SNL and kind of piggybacked off that fame. Seth Rogen also writes a bunch of movies, and his movies are kind of timeless. Like they age very well. You have End of the World, you have The Interview, which sucks. You have it doesn't matter. Seth Rogen. Will Ferrell movies, he's done. Seth Rogen is not. He's starting to get serious. He even went to Congress to talk about autism.
The question is almost unfair because Will Ferrell has been around literally twice as long as Seth Rogen, therefore his portfolio is twice as big. And like he mentioned, starting with SNL, Will Ferrell is a self-made man. He sent in his own interviews to SNL. It's him acting like a cat, playing with a cat toy. It's fucking hilarious. He made the Harry Carey character, something that will live in infamy for SNL. That's just SNL. He gave us all these characters from Old School, Zoolander, Anchorman, Talladega Nights. He gave us Buddy the fucking Elf. He's in Step Brothers. He's even in family movies like Daddy's Home. He's even a voice in Lego Movie.
Will Ferrell might have been self-made, but he did have SNL. Seth Rogen basically came out of nowhere. He used Judd Apatow. He's been around basically almost as long. I mean, he was in Freaks and Geeks, and that was the start. And then he started writing with what's his face?
Time.
Yeah, it's
Woodard, I think is what's his name.
yeah.
At this point in time, again, it's short work, but Seth Rogen is known as stoner comedy. I think he's fucking hilarious, but he's stoner comedy. He's the same exact character and everything. Will Ferrell has given us a couple serious roles. He played in that Bewitched movie, a totally different character than what we're used to. He's been all those characters on SNL. Will Ferrell's played the most characters.
For sure, Will Ferrell.
Yeah. You said Bewitched. That's the worst movie.
God, it's awful. Why did I even say that? It's so bad. It's the only thing I can think of him being
I just couldn't think of
semi-serious.
all the Seth Rogen movies because he's in he has such limited roles sometimes. That's what I was trying to think of.
Will Ferrell, was that the right answer?
And then an Anna Rayner question. Wait, it is 4-4.
Yeah, yeah.
Last question is one Rayner gave best gangster movie.
I actually hate gangster movies, so this is possibly the worst question. I just put it because it's a good question for everybody.
Gangster movie. I'll go with Scarface.
Fuck, that's what I wanted to say.
You'll probably say a lot of things that I said and lost a point on.
To me. Yeah, I remember it.
Me too.
Now's not the time, man.
You know, Johnny Depp does look really good in that hat. I'll give the point to Brian.
That ponytail, though.
Are you seriously not going to come up with an answer to a
It's
question?
30 seconds.
It's The Godfather.
You have 30. Okay.
It's-
30 seconds to Rainer. And The Godfather.
The Godfather is the iconic gangster movie. And without The Godfather, I don't think there would be a gangster genre. There could be better movies, but this put it to the pinnacle of what a movie can be. It involves family, it involves drugs, it involves everything you want from a gangster movie. You have one of the best written movies of all time. The cinematography is great. Basically, won Best Picture all the time. You can forget about the sequels. You just watch Godfather, and it's great. Marlon Brando, fantastic. It's a fantastic movie, and it involves so much more than just.
We certainly have two iconic movies right now, so we can just get that part out of the way. They're both icons. The main character of both movies, both icons. Scarface, to me, is about the rise and fall of a gangster, which is the typical life of a gangster. Scarface seemed more real. It seemed more scary, and Scarface came first, right? I mean, was Scarface, they're really close.
I don't think so.
Don't think so?
If you count Scarface, the original, I'm going to pause this. You have a few seconds. There was a Scarface in 1954.
That was about gangsters.
That's the one he's talking about.
Funny you mention it.
Way to clear that one up.
You actually didn't say Pacino or anything if you want to switch mid. But, I'm going to fact check.
Yeah, give me the years out of curiosity.
Now that you pick
Scarface came out in '83.
Godfather's
Godfather
in the
was
70s.
the correct answer was Get Rich or Die Trying. So. That's cinematic.
What's the one with Jay-Z, the blue something?
Scarface was 83 and
Godfather.
Godfather was 72.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
11-year difference.
Gotcha.
You have like 5 seconds.
Gotcha. Pacino gives us one of the greatest pieces of acting of all time. That's not arguable. There's my 5 seconds.
You brought up that it shows the rise and fall. I don't think that's actually how gangsters work. They have a family tree, and like one person falls, the other one gets up, and that's basically what The Godfather is showing you. They have family. It's a personal thing. It's not just a bad guy. They have to live their lives, and I think The Godfather shows that. better than any other gangster movie. It's what gangsters do.
They're both iconic movies. Scarface gives us the "Say Hello to My Little Friend." It gives us these quotable moments that live on in cinematic history. Scarface is just as real as The Godfather. Mountains of cocaine everywhere. Shows you how cocaine came into Miami, how it was distributed.
Like I said, you both fucked up when you didn't say get rich or die trying.
I honestly,
Goodfellas.
I thought I almost said that one.
Look, this is important. There was some controversy there. There was. So, I mean, you could argue he had seconds if I give him the point.
That's fine.
So if you're not deriving a point from that, I'll go ahead and say it. You fucked up by not saying Godfather Part 2.
Well, I actually did say get rid of those, so we'll just do.
Yeah, but Godfather Part 2 is the best Godfather movie. But the correct answer is Suicide Games.
Damn, dude.
The correct answer.
Yeah, you've changed.
Come on, son.
He's just gonna say gangster movie.
I literally hate gangster movies.
I
Literally one of the
This
least.
seems fair. I think this is a Brian.
Best sports movie ever.
This might be a Luke question. Actually. What are the worst special effects?
What is like?
The worst special effects from a movie.
Oh,
What movie has the worst special effects? We'll say it that way. I know-
Mac and me.
I thought I knew the right answer. Is that one of yours? Yes.
We'll have to vaguely open for a reason.
This is my jam, though.
That UB40.
You know it.
Put 30 seconds on.
I saw that shit. Digital Underground. Yep. Totally came out. Yeah, classic, man.
15. 10. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1.
New question.
Yeah, I'm fine with a new question too.
New question. I'm not.
Can I draw it?
We're not winning on a technicality.
Can I draw
It's
it?
The
not happening.
Scorpion King.
Let me draw this. Oh, the Scorpion King is.
I'll tell you what, dude,
the
I was gonna go
answer.
super
That movie
controversial
looks
if
so
forced
bad.
into a corner
Especially
there, and
after
I
you
was
watch
gonna say
that,
Black Panther because that movie
Yeah.
pissed me the
I haven't seen it because
Fucking,
like
Silver
it just
video
looks.
where they, like, go back
It
and
looks.
redo the graphics and shit.
Like, I'm not gonna
I
lie.
think this is a Brian one.
pissed me the
That's kind of what I have a problem with Marvel anyway. You can kind of-
To be fair,
I think this is a Brian.
Hey, hold on. We were just like talking right there. It was probably gonna piss people off. I didn't give a fuck. But I was telling him if I was forced into a corner right there, I was actually gonna say I was gonna argue Black Panther because those fake ass
No, I
backgrounds
agree.
piss
Go
me
for
the
it.
fuck off.
Yeah.
No, it's
But
too
no,
late.
we like
We'll like a new question.
that is the answer, to be honest.
shit. Fucking piss
I
me
don't
off.
know. I stick with Scorpion King.
Scorpion King. is bad.
Scorpion King's bad, but like for
But if you look at the rest of the special effects in Black Panther,
Black
it's
Panther-
literally just that.
I know that's the part that bothers me though. It's like
Best non-action Tom Cruise character. So no Ethan Hunt.
Vanilla Sky. David Ames is the name of the character.
His character from Tropic Thunder.
Isn't that action?
He's not action in that.
I myself
He's the film
I myself
producer.
personally
Oh, Tom. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. No, I thought about that.
it was one of those things I didn't know that was Tom Cruise until
Yeah. Let's just start with that. Tom Cruise's character in Tropic Thunder is probably his best non-action role because nobody knew about that. They kept it under wraps. That was like a Easter egg in the movie. You just kind of knew he might be there. He dresses in a fat suit. He dances around, and he basically is he's an action star. He is producing this action movie that ends up being a real thing that they're doing. And he plays that to the T. He doesn't give a shit. He just wants to dance. He just wants to be fat Tom Cruise, not doing his normal thing, watching it unfold.
Time. I know this is a question you've been wanting for a very long time.
Right, but arguing it correctly is what matters, not where my heart is at. It's about what matters. It's just so funny because I joked about this out loud right before I came about this exact scenario, actually. Like, no joke, that exact character, I already fucking had that in my head. Okay, I'll go. My issue with that character is, like he said, it is an Easter egg in the character, whereas my character, it is the whole movie. The whole movie is about him. This is an iconic character. This is an Easter egg character that's just fun in the movie. The character David Ames creates a world where you don't know if you're in reality or if you're in real life, but if you could throw yourself in this man's shoes, if you've ever been in relationships, the rise and fall of them, it will tear your fucking heart out watching this thing. You can feel it. You've been there. It's poetic.
I think the fact that Tom Cruise was able to make fun of himself during an action movie to not be the person in action is better. I think a more iconic role, I've never seen Vanilla Sky. A lot of people haven't. It's Jerry Maguire, where he actually is a sports agent, and I think that's more iconic because, show me the money, that scene. He doesn't say that, but you get it.
Chris, where'd you go? I was going to rely on you.
I was looking at this video for this restaurant that we're
make
currently
this.
at. The Woods.
Yes, come to the woods.
It's hard to do when you're already there.
Even in the movie Tropic Thunder, he's still dancing around. It's still about banging, shooting. He's still about screaming. That's the iconic Tom Cruise you're used to, action version. You're not used to this laid back, fall in love, can't get the girl action. You're used to Tom Cruise being beautiful, can get the girl right. He can't get it in Vanilla Sky. He speaks about art. He talks in poems.
Who do you say? I say Brian.
I missed half the argument. Was Vanilla Sky the one movie we watched on Fast Forward? It seemed like a good ass movie, but I watched it in 1.5 times.
That's a tough movie to watch in 1.5 times. Like, would you like a mind fuck involving art? Let's fast forward it. Fuck it.
No, see, here's what happened. I put off watching both those movies you gave
And then you're
me.
like, shit, he's coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we watched them both in 1.5 times speed.
He's like, the nice poetry. This is my mother's favorite. She painted the painting.
It turns out, because I was watching this really bad movie with Belle, if you watch Michael Shannon in 1.5 times speed, he sounds normal. I vote Brian.
Yeah, whatever you say is cool because I
Okay.
missed part of that, and
Dude,
it would be biased for me.
Fucking good sport for that.
Yeah, you both.
You could have been into that corner if you wanted.
I've never seen
really
it.
necessarily.
It's goddamn beautiful.
I was kind of hoping, you didn't give me enough to, get the idea of what the movie was.
Purposely.
And I think that's why you did that.
I started to
It's like,
learn. I started to learn. Let's shit on the other person first, and then go good next.
Rainer season 2, your number one contender after that shit, though.
Yeah, dude. I'm a good arguer. It's bullshit.
It's gonna be whoever loses the championship and you vying for the next title shot.
Okay.
It is weird though because Starship is your favorite movie of all time, and Vanilla Sky is my favorite movie of all time. We got to bring them both out.
Yeah.
that was cool.
I finally got to use Starship
I
Trooper
know.
as a legitimate
I've used it
answer.
twice now. My very first time ever, and my last.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Brian did by a hair.
I still think he's only
I'll just
drawn
tiptoe
one
out of here and
more
take a shot or something. Thank you.
I just want it to be known that as the judge of this, I don't get to smoke.
I finally got to just do something with it.
I watched 20 minutes of that.
No, get in there.
If you're not in the right mindset,
Walk in front of you, so
Tear up my fucking cord.
I should always be in the right mindset.
That's awful. That
Yeah.
is not fun.
Did you see my message earlier about the giant VHS tapes?
Yes, I actually got $20 out to give to you.
Because I looked at like the price versus like they're like $100, but like with shipping because it's from Canada, it's like $40 shipping. But like 8 people, that's $20.
Yeah, I got 20 on it.
Here's a Chris question.
Give me like 2 weeks though.
Best movie about college?
PCU.
Porky's. Why are you counting your money first?
I think he's about to get having money.
Is he betting on this?
Or no, he's paying bills.
Oh, it's rent money.
Yeah, that's rent in the cable.
Sweet, I got bus fare now.
How much time do I have?
You have 30 seconds.
Just to yell about like a movie about college?
I mean, you have to pick a movie.
I did. I said Porky's.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Alright, so Porky's. Am I go?
Go.
Okay. Porky's was great because it was the first one. I think it came out before Animal House, but it was like the first movie that came out of those college movies that like other ones like Old School and the other ones came out of just funny going to school. Like I'm in a frat house now. We have John Belushi. I picked the wrong movie. I'm sorry. I'm gonna fail on this one. Here.
Did you buy a bottle?
No, I did not. This is beer.
Oh.
I think PCU is the best college movie because not only was it a great movie when it came out, but in today's day and age of 2019 and PC culture, PCU as itself as a movie holds up more than people would like to acknowledge it. And it actively acknowledges all the cliques and various united fronts of a college campus that you could see in 1998 or 2019. And I don't know if I have more time left.
I don't even know how this works.
Time.
Pretty sure I'm gonna lose this.
15 seconds to Corey.
Porky's is a great movie about college kids being in the dorms and all that kind of stuff. It's really bad these days, but it's still funny to everyone, and it's still distributed to everyone, actually. You can still get this movie on, like, Amazon Prime.
And so, like,
Once again, in a era of 90s movies not holding up, PCU, oddly enough, holds up more than most fucking movies about college because of modern standards of political correctness in life. And it's a good movie. It's about college.
How many more rounds do we have? Okay, just that one? Okay.
I think it's for 5.
I wanted to go one more and say, like, the movie poster is the only one that has, like, a dick like a Oreo. It's the only one, it's still.
This is a Jim question. Avenger you least want to see in a movie?
I don't know enough.
Yeah, I feel like we're both equally at a disadvantage for college.
You're
or for
both
not
equally at a disadvantage.
I can't fucking talk right now.
If you're equally at a disadvantage, it's fine.
We're both at an equally disadvantage for like comic book knowledge.
Wolverine.
Not an event. Was he? Okay. Good. Was Booster Gold ever an Avenger?
DC, nope.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, I don't read a lot of Marvel, and I'm super unfamiliar with Marvel outside of the MCU. I'm going to go ahead and say the Hulk.
30 seconds to Chris and the Hulk.
Nobody wants to see another Hulk movie. We've seen plenty of Hulk movies. The one decent Hulk movie we got was a mess because of the lead actor in the movie. Just kind of ruined the movie, took control of the movie, and just nobody wants to put enough time and money into that again. Whereas you said, I forgot what you said, but like people would probably watch that. Wolverine, yeah, people pay out of the ass to watch Wolverine movies. Are you fucking kidding me?
They won't because
No, I mean, it doesn't matter who they cast as Wolverine. People will see it on name recognition alone. Whereas the
it's weird because we can't like actually talk to each other. Nope.
yeah, it's hard to get used to too.
I know.
I kept wanting to interject.
I get it,
from Rainer
but it's
earlier.
like weird.
It's your turn. Make it to the final, and you get to interject all you want.
Well, I probably won't. I don't think anybody would want to see Wolverine in a Avengers movie at this point because the Avengers is kind of done. If they bring up the new Avengers, like the new aspect of them, who are you going to pick to be fucking Wolverine other than Hugh Jackman? It'll be somebody that sucks. I mean, unless you bring back Hugh Jackman. He already said he wasn't going to do it. So it's going to be like some crappy guy with like a beard like mine. It's not going to be me.
That's a fair one. I get that.
I think introducing a Wolverine movie, people would actually pay out of the ass to see that because that would be introducing the X-Men into the MCU for the first time. People would be really into that. Whereas a Hulk movie, you'd have to kind of do the whole Professor Hulk thing. And the interesting thing about a Professor Hulk movie is how Professor Hulk became Professor.
Alright. None of the Hulk movies have worked. Nobody wants to see them. They've tried so many times with like Ang Lee and stuff. That movie was crap. He won an Oscar the next year for Brokeback Mountain, but like then they did the first
Chris, for sure.
You used your rebuttal to prove my point.
I know, it's fine. It's fair. I knew I was going to lose this anyway. It's all fair. Punch the glass.
Punch
Here's a question.
It's a Rainer question?
Fuck. How do you know it's Rainer?
Was typed.
Oh,
Yeah.
Franklin, Arthur, or Little Bear? What would be the best movie?
What?
Franklin, Arthur, or Little Bear?
Little Bear?
What would be the best movie?
Wait, is that Franklin, comma, Arthur?
Franklin, comma, Arthur.
Okay.
Comma,
I mean, I already said
Little
Little
Bear.
Bear. That's fine. I just thought Arthur was like Franklin's last name. So like I didn't like follow.
Wait, I don't really get this.
You have until I'm done peeing.
Yeah.
We just have 3 names.
Yeah. You know Franklin the turtle
Yeah.
or Arthur the aardvark? That, like,
Right.
Yeah. You have to pick between one of those two because I already picked Little Bear.
But do you have to?
I love this song. By the way.
Which one would have the best movie?
Yeah.
I have no idea what.
Louder?
I have no idea what you're
Talking
Good.
here. So what was the question?
It was Franklin, Arthur, or Little Bear. But I misunderstood the question. I thought Franklin Arthur was like Franklin's full name.
I didn't even know this. It's not even a question.
Yeah, it is. What would make a better movie? Little Bear, Arthur, or Franklin?
I've never watched the show about the hamster. I've seen it. I've seen the
There's
movie.
no hamster.
Yeah, Franklin's a turtle and Arthur's an aardvark.
And Little Bear is
A bear.
It's a bear. Who won?
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
nobody's
going to,
gone yet.
absolutely. I mean, he's going to.
I was supposed to explain to him the question.
Franklin's a
Hi
turtle.
for anybody still watching.
But this
Arthur's an
makes
aardvark.
absolutely no sense to me at all. I thought these were about movies too, though.
Well, they are. Make the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
movie.
Which of those characters would make the best movie?
Okay.
The true answer is Rupert. By
Did
the
you
way.
pick one?
I picked Arthur.
I picked
Okay.
So there were 1, 2, 3.
30 seconds to
that's-
Corey and
I mean,
Arthur.
true. But the true answer is Rupert.
It's me? Okay, so I want them to remake Arthur, the PBS show that I've never seen about an aardvark apparently, but I want them to do it in the style of Arthur, the movie of the drunk guy.
Such a good movie.
Yep, Arthur with an exclamation point. It's like Arthur growing up. He's like, he already showed you all this shit on PBS, like how to be a good guy, and like turtle sucks. Now he's just grown. It's Arthur 3. I don't even know how to do it.
30 seconds to Chris.
Oh, that fucking sax solo though.
I hope we don't get pulled for
That
the
sax
music.
solo gets me every fucking time. Little Bear, because the cast of characters is just so much more broad than like your fucking. I don't even know which one he picked, to be honest.
Arthur.
Okay, whatever. But yeah, Little Bear has that cast of characters. You got Cat, you got like Duck, you got Emily. You got like, it's so fucking good. He's a bear. He doesn't wear pants. His parents wear clothes. He runs around naked all day. Little Bear's just fucking like nostalgia, fucking fun fest to the top. It's so good.
30 seconds, or 15 seconds to Corey.
I got thrown off by that sax solo.
Secret weapon of rock and roll, baby.
I don't know anything about Arthur, but I remember seeing it, and he has glasses. They look like me. I kind of look like Arthur. In a way, I'm not an aardvark. Nobody is. What is an aardvark? Can somebody show me a picture of that? I know he has a friend that's a turtle, but I don't think he wears pants either.
Hey, did Jim leaving? Is he smoking?
I think you said bye.
I mean, it's never bye because I'll see him later.
It's your turn.
Very well. He said he's not one.
All right, yeah. So I'm gonna go Little Bear, voiced by Danny McBride, because that just sounds fucking tight in my mind. And at this point, it's impossible to lose to Corey. But like I said, there's that entire cast of fucking characters. Of like Emily, you've got like fucking Duck. You like
Baja. Point to Chris.
Of course.
3-0.
Had I understood the question when it was first asked, I would have said Arthur though. But in my mind, the way you read it, Franklin Arthur was Frank, and I knew what you were talking about when he said it.
It wasn't a
Franklin Arthur was
question.
his last name. Like Arthur.
Who is the worst witch?
Wendy, aka was it Kirsten Stewart played her in that movie? Kirsten Dunst, maybe. Worst witch.
Worst
Yeah.
witch.
And I'm going with Wendy from Casper Meets Wendy, but it was played by Kirsten Dunst. Was it Hilary Duff? Yes. Okay, well she sucked in that fucking movie. I'll get to it, but
I'm going to go with actually a literal one from Hocus Pocus. I don't know what her name was in that movie, but the shitty one. Not.
You want to say the fat one. Like, it's what you want.
The fat one.
Okay.
Okay, you know what I mean. Everybody knows what I mean.
Yep.
She was the worst witch.
30 seconds to the fat one.
She was the worst actress in that, compared to Sarah Jessica Parker and that other chick. But she was just the worst witch anyway. Like, she always fucked up. She didn't do what she wanted to do. Like, she ended up flying on a vacuum. Like, she just, like, fucked up her broom and, like, broke shit, and she was just flying on shit willy-nilly. Like, she just picked shit up. She was the worst witch. She didn't do anything good to be a witch. This is awful.
so I'm gonna throw it out there. It was not Sarah Jessica Parker in that fucking movie, but Wendy is the worst witch because when you think of a witch, you think of a wicked person, a magical evil person. Wendy doesn't really do any magic in Casper Meets Wendy, apart from maybe flying a broom. She's a good-natured witch, and it's just not. When you think of witch, you think of powerful, you think of magic, and Wendy does not have that energy. She ain't got that big witch energy, which is what it's about at the end of the day. Wendy is a child.
That was totally Sarah Jessica Parker.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just
What?
talking about
Really?
it. Yeah.
Yes.
What was?
I was
Really?
so confused.
Yeah.
I'm like, why did he say that?
What was?
Really? Can I get an IMDb?
No, it's no IMDb. We are IMDb.
Was
Yeah,
the
it's-
blonde one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
And
had,
damn, she's
Yeah.
so fine as hell. What the
No.
fuck happened to her?
No.
Yeah.
She had the prosthetic
No,
witch
I knew
nose,
that.
and
And
it
it's-
covered up her actual nose.
I got it now. I got
Like-
it back now. It's Bette Midler was the main one, and
Yeah,
I, don't,
yeah, I
I
knew that, I
still
knew
don't
that.
know the other one. Bette Midler. I got it now.
Nobody knows. Yes.
Fucking A.
But that other chick, we had Sarah Jessica Parker, Sex and the City. Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right, we'll go. So the reason that she was the shitty witch is because she was the dumb witch. She didn't do anything. Bette Midler did most of everything. She put the spell on everybody. Sarah Jessica Parker did too. She was kind of the slutty witch, but she still put a spell on people.
Can we have a debate without Corey using the S word?
We can't use
No,
slut
we can't.
anymore.
I mean, I personally have always found offense to that word. But
Okay, I mean it's
Whatever.
fine.
Well, you're a slut. so-
yeah, I mean, I am.
Okay, but she would.
I
okay.
personally find that word terrible.
And that's fine. They don't put it in the movies anymore, but back then she was actually like the slut witch. But who is your witch?
Wendy. Wendy is once again the worst witch because she's not malevolent in any way. And I guess yeah, you could be like a good witch like Glinda the Good Witch, but like Wendy is young, she doesn't know magic, she doesn't know shit about anything. She just literally flies on a fucking broom that entire movie.
Done.
This is fucking rough.
If you want to give it to Corey, I don't.
I'm actually giving it to Corey.
Yeah, I could see that because like my entire argument was like Wendy sucks.
Yeah.
I actually had a decent point.
Flying willy-nilly on a vacuum. I liked that.
She sucked.
Like, she
though.
didn't mean to end up there,
But she was just the stupid witch. Like,
Yeah.
She wasn't the good one.
Yeah.
She didn't do anything.
I for
witchy.
sure. So it's 3-1.
What's the score now? 3-1, apparently.
Chris.
Why did you have to ask?
Somebody has
smiling. I
won.
thought you were gonna hit me with a surprise.
Somebody has won. And you're like, well, no.
Oh,
How did you get one?
Okay, you had a big bucket on the ground. I thought you maybe pulled something out of his ass.
No, I was gonna get beer, but there's not.
There's
even
nobody in here.
There's not even an attendant.
Not that I feel like they would give a shit if you were behind a fucking car.
Maybe not.
Be careful, grab another one because Corey's not gonna know what this means.
What is it?
And I don't feel like explaining it.
How do you know that I won't know?
I mean, I don't care. I'm assuming it's mine because you're asking me.
No, it's a gym one.
I thought we just
what
had a
one was
big
it?
bag of
It was a gym one.
Jim?
gems.
Okay. What was the question though? I'm curious about it.
Oh, it might come back. So, what is the best feel-good sports movie?
Feel good sports.
I'll go ahead and let you answer first. 'Cause I'm a gentleman.
This is a Brian question.
I've got
It
this
is.
answer in the bag, but I'll go ahead and let you answer first.
Mighty Ducks.
Which one?
The first.
D2, motherfucker. All day. All fucking day.
God damn.
Yeah.
You're fucking.
All right, Corey, 30 seconds to
I thought
the
he had
Mighty
to
Ducks.
answer first.
Or
I
no.
answered
Yeah,
shit.
it is me. D2 is the feel-good fucking sports movie because A and D1 they don't know how to fucking skate, let alone play hockey. D2 they're fucking skilled. They win the Junior Goodwill Games, which is basically the fucking Junior Olympics for 13-year-olds, which is fucking fantastic. They recruit Russ, which is the most known, not the most known duck, but the Mighty Ducks are known for the knuckle puck. He introduced the knuckle puck to the Mighty Ducks, which is like what the Mighty Ducks are. And I'll just leave it at that to the rebuttal.
Yep, time.
I got 30 seconds for this shit. Most feel-good movie, right? Sports movie. Okay. So, the Mighty Ducks, the first one, is the best, actually, because Michael Bombay is at his Bombay. He's down on his luck. So are the kids. Everybody else is. He whips them into shape. Like they're kind of a ragtime team of like they can kind of skate, but he shows them how to do it. And you know, he has that other. Fuck, I'm losing my mind. But still, it was great. It was better than the second one.
What's your favorite Hall & Oates song?
And I still have seconds left. It's a meltdown. A little bit. Still seconds?
No, you're done.
Oh, okay. I think it was still better than the second one. I tried going.
Once again, D2 is far superior because they're a fully fledged team. Even though they have new recruits, the new recruits become part of the unit. Everyone fully becomes a fucking team. You have the Bash Brothers in full effect with all three Bash Brothers.
Time.
They didn't have three Bash Brothers in the second one. I don't think either. And the second one was so ridiculous that it didn't even make sense. Like, Team USA going for the Junior Olympics. The first one was so much better because he made a better person out of himself and he made a better person out of these kids.
Point to Chris.
I will let you know in the future, never question my knowledge of the Mighty Ducks
I
movies.
know.
There's the three Bash Brothers because there's Fulton Reed,
the other guy.
Something Thomas, what the fuck is his name?
And there was only one
and then
instance when
the
they
Asian
smashed
kid.
him into the wall. He wasn't the third Bash brother.
He
they said
he
it
becomes
for
the third
like
Bash brother.
2 seconds.
He becomes the third Bash Brother in the second movie.
Best movie
does.
starring Nick Cage.
Best movie
I'll also allow
starring Nick Cage.
Corey to answer first as well.
Ooh. Why are we doing this shit? Like now,
I mean, I have an answer. I'm just curious if you pick my answer, I can easily switch to another question.
the best Nick Cage movie.
Yeah. I might even choose not my top answer, which is on this piece of paper. I wrote 5 things on this piece of paper earlier. One of them being the best Nick Cage movie.
Why am I still doing this?
I haven't answered yet because I'm waiting for you. I wrote down notes earlier, right? I wrote down 5 things, and then I wrote down names because I was trying to think of who all is involved in this. But one of them is one of the things I wrote down earlier is the best Nick Cage movie.
What you got, Corey?
Corey still hasn't answered.
No. I'm putting 30 seconds on the clock, Corey.
Alright, that's fine. I'll do that one.
Toby, do you still have those comics? What? The ones from like a decade ago.
15, Corey.
Fuck yeah.
Only got 15 for the first. Can I
No,
help him?
you're still waiting to answer.
Toby and I met.
Face Off.
Okay.
He drew a comic, and then he drew me into his
That's
comics.
Nick Cage.
Corey said face off.
Face Off?
Yeah.
That's a good fucking answer, dude.
On this piece of paper, I have Mandy written down, but I'm going with Drive Angry.
Never even seen that shit, so
Face
it's
off
gonna be
versus
weird.
Drive Angry. 30 seconds to Drive Angry.
Wait, hold on. Question is best Nicolas Cage movie?
Best Nick Cage.
Drive Angry is the best Nicolas Cage movie because at the time that Drive Angry came out, there was no better role for Nicolas Cage other than a cigar smoking, whiskey swindling, fucking misogynist, just badass, which is his character in that fucking movie. There's a scene in that movie where he's literally smoking a cigar, drinking a bottle of whiskey. Dude's kicking the door and he just starts blasting people while he's fucking. That's Nicolas Cage, dog. In a handbag. Without a doubt.
Time.
There's nothing more Nicolas Cage.
Alright, so Face Off is actually an amazing, visually looking movie. John Woo was great. It was actually the first bullet time in real life that they slowed down bullets to see them in real life before The Matrix. And it's like a movie about Nicolas Cage ripping off John Travolta's face. Like, who doesn't want to do that? I'd love to do that right now. And he puts it on his own face, and then It's like a big action movie. One of the best action movies, actually.
Time. What is this for? Is it 4 or
Yeah.
3?
I have no clue. I haven't been paying attention.
I only have one. I think
If
you
you
gave me
could tell me
one.
the questions previous, I could tell
Yeah,
you which
I
ones
know,
I've got.
it's-
But I really don't know.
Do you know if it's 4?
What?
4 or 3?
I'm
Matt
pretty
lost
sure I lost.
touch.
All right,
Score.
so when we asked, it was 3-1.
And then somebody took a bathroom break.
Somebody.
So it's 4.
No, it was sports movies, and then
Yeah.
it was
I
3-1
lost
for
that.
sports
We picked-
movie. Did you win this one?
I don't know yet.
Yeah.
It's
yes,
four-
it is.
Yeah, it's,
We're still in
it's
it.
4 to 1.
It's 4-1.
Aw. Face off.
15 seconds
I didn't
to
even
Chris.
go
That's not
Mandy,
over
which
yet.
is the
Okay.
what I have written down.
15 seconds to Chris.
Like satirical joke. Because it's like, I watched it recently and I was like, not enough
Driving.
I mean, I
Drive
watched it,
Angry.
like, plenty of times.
Yeah.
But I watched it recently and I was like,
Drive Angry is Nicolas Cage at his best. He's out for revenge. He has a muscle car. He has a fucking truck full of guns. And he just has a motive to fucking kick ass, take names. There's nothing more Nicolas Cage than that. Than like him just fucking very little dialogue, just action.
it's like, we're gonna like lay these faces down like computer animation. You get a new face. And then just the acting is like, because Nick Cage is acting like Travolta, and Travolta's acting like Nick Cage.
There's so much different like
The what?
things that are happening in Face Off because like they're portraying two different people and like one of them infiltrating like the one family and the other one's doing the same in the crime thing. There's so much more depth.
It's like the Warriors, but worse. Just watching
What's like the Warriors but worse?
Logan's Run.
Wait, is that the sci-fi movie?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking
I did not expect that, but I think maybe you overheard their conversation.
I did.
about. Give it to Corey, I don't care.
But you
It's
said it.
It's the better Nicolas Cage movie.
It is 2-4.
I actually
Game point again.
I only cheated a little
I
bit.
might just fuck around a little bit.
And did you pound?
Well, the next question they asked.
This is a Brian question.
Oh god.
He pouted by
Fuck.
Best opening scene in all of film.
Like the
Best
What?
opening scene.
Best opening scene in all of film.
2001, Space Odyssey.
The other guys.
How?
Ooh, this is a good one.
He says it and I'm joking.
30 seconds to Chris.
The Other Guys is so amazing because it opens with you see these two badass cops and you think the movie's going to be about these two badass cops. And then unexpectedly, they just leap to their death off of the top of a fucking building. And there's that split second in that movie where you think, okay, they just jumped 25 fucking stories down, but they're going to land on their feet and then splat. They do. Followed by Ice-T being like, nobody knows why they jumped off that building that day. Maybe there was their egos. Like, it's such a good opening to a fucking movie. There's no better opening to a movie.
Time.
The Other Guys?
What's the question?
Best opening to a movie?
Oh, that's
I said the other
super
guys.
easy. I know the answer.
But Corey
It's
said
so good.
2001, which is still great.
There's lots
Hang
of
on,
ratings.
hang on, hang on. I'm not gonna show anything. I just hope it can pick it
Are you
up.
watching it?
No,
Hang on, Corey just Googled it.
I'm not googling. I haven't.
I think he's trying to play the music
Yeah, he's
from
trying
it.
to play it.
That's what I was trying to play.
So,
What is this?
And we're stricken and taken down from YouTube.
right.
Copyright.
Oh, okay, I'll stop it. No, we only put like 20 seconds.
I don't
But
know.
that fucking scene, like, most people don't even know what. As kids, as our age, you knew that song, you knew that sound, you knew that actual visual thing of it, but you never even seen the fucking movie because we were born after it came out. That's one of the best openings out of any.
I've got all of them. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, Disney.
I would almost say The Life of Brian, where it parodies that opening, is a better opening to a movie. And your argument of knowing the song but not recognizing the opening is a counterintuitive like thing to your argument. I'm sorry to say.
I guess the Paul Beer host.
How is it counterintuitive? Like, it's one of the best opening scenes. It's one of the most iconic songs, sounds. Everybody knows I know what you're saying is like a kid, but still, it's like everybody knows that. And well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
This is like my favorite movie ever.
What is
I'm gonna
this?
give it.
Mac and Me.
Oh, we're playing Mac and Me.
I'm gonna give it to Chris, even though Corey had the better pick.
You fucked up by like stating in your argument that
Yeah, I agree.
people don't recognize it.
I understand, but they know what.
Chris and Brian, go time.
I'll move out of this chair. Chris, good game, not really, but okay. I mean, like,
Fuck you, man. Get out of here.
no, it was fair game.
I'm upset.
I understand. I'm not.
I'm not gonna lie, Chris was like, I want to lose so I can leave.
Yeah, I was trying to leave like 2 hours ago. Like, I hate this shit. Anytime I try to win, it's like,
Do you ever try?
You lose, yeah.
do I try to win all the time and I lose?
What's the estimate on time for this next round?
There's 3 questions maybe.
3?
Yeah, how is
And then how many times do you argue it?
Do you be Marshall's football coach? He plays to lose.
I don't know.
He
Like
loses.
3 rounds?
What are we doing here exactly?
I think
First
we're
question.
actually answering questions.
Can you tell me what we're doing here exactly?
Best director.
Yeah, these are the questions he proposed.
I get-
And then potentially a blind pitch. I think this functions more like a normal like
Yeah.
debate.
And then are we going to speed round after all that shit?
No.
Sure.
Well, are we?
So no,
can.
yes.
Oh, okay.
It's up. We'll take it to a vote. You
I don't
guys
give
want
a fuck, dude.
You guys want a 3-round regular with 2 points in speed round, or do you just want to do a 3-point regular round? Winner take all.
I'm beers deep, dude, and I haven't paid for any of my beer yet, so I don't give a fuck.
I didn't know where that answer was going. I was like,
I can be here for another hour and
So we're in
finally
around.
start paying for my own drinks. Like, I don't care. I don't know what time it is now. I don't know if it's still Saturday or what. I don't know. You said the question was best director?
Best director. Brian went with Steven Spielberg. Chris went with, let me scroll some.
Tarantino.
That's a good answer, dude. I was wondering who was gonna like rival Spielberg. I like it.
It was a hard thing because
I like it.
he asked us for like a 1 and a backup. And I was like, do I say my backup first or like
Just in case one of you
Yeah.
had the same one.
Because there were a lot of people chiming in.
Yeah.
I like that strategy. That was a good strategy.
You want me to go first or like?
You can open, sure.
And there's not like a time limit or anything.
I mean, there is, but it's not a speed round. You can interject with each other. You can.
All right. I'll start off with saying I went with Quentin Tarantino because as of today, he's written quite a mini film, but directorially, he's directed 9 films, maybe 9.5 if you want to count his first film, which was lost in the process of editing due to a fire. So nobody's seen that film, so I won't count it. He's directed 9 films and hasn't directed a bad film yet. I think that's like impressive.
Okay, Brian, tell me why Spielberg is the best director.
So clearly, right here, we're gonna go like a quality versus quantity thing. In a sense, though, I think Spielberg has plenty of quality as well. But quantity-wise, there is no debate here. I mean, quantity-wise, the catalog is enormous because Spielberg is older, been around, I don't know, 4 times as long possibly. I mean, he dates back. But to get in, I don't even know where to start on how many blockbusters Spielberg has directed. We could list them all day long. Let's just start with the numbers. I mean, he is the highest grossing film director in movie history. That's a pretty big thing. It's like when you're going into the Hall of Fame. I'll just go ahead and start going into this. You cool with that? Okay. When you're going into the Hall of Fame in a sport, it's pretty important that you've hit the most home runs, for example. So how about the highest grossing film director in the history of all film? As a matter of fact, anyone that's even close to him, the next ones are like James Cameron and Michael Bay, directors like that. He doubles them in the amount that his films have grossed. As a matter of fact, in diving into Spielberg, it makes me wonder when the fuck this guy even sleeps. But like between all of the producing, directing, he even shows up in films. Hell, he's in Vanilla Sky. That's another interesting thing about Spielberg. Tarantino does this too. They're going to cancel each other out right here. So Tarantino shows up in some movies. Spielberg shows up in some movies because they're both pop culture relevant enough. And I think that's a really cool thing with both directors. So they cancel that part out with each other.
I think the upper hand that Tarantino has over Spielberg is ultimately, like, they both obviously have a diehard love for film and for cinema. I feel like Tarantino's advantage is he loves cinema so much that he will not put out a subpar product. He will not dip below what in his mind is the best he can possibly do. Whereas Spielberg has some bad movies like the last Indiana Jones movie, Crystal of Doom or whatever the fuck, or Temple of Crystal Skull, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. Like there have been moments in Spielberg's career where he's dipped out. And Spielberg, I will admit, is a very broad person. He does a lot more producing. He does a lot more like he's dabbled in like animation and things like that. But I feel like when it comes down to it, Tarantino is very much not only just a director, but he's a filmmaker. Most of the films he's directed, all of the films he's actually directed, he's handwritten. He's had successful films that he's written that he didn't direct that went on to be great films. But the movies he does, he writes himself, and he doesn't write them like screenplays. He writes them like novels. And that's why they do so well. Is because in his mind, it's so much easier to be cinematic when you place something in a novel form. He's so much more experimental with his use of non-linear stories and his overall use of just everything Tarantino does in a film. He analyzes to the T, whether it be color or fucking the choice of actors in his films. He often relies on actors he knows and has worked with before. But even so, it's almost like he writes a role with an actor in mind, but he doesn't. He just writes a role so well that inevitably somebody fills that role.
Not to interject, but you have until 40. You go into closing arguments.
Well, I'm going to start talking then, because I need to deflect a few things. I've got a lot of info to get out here. I love Tarantino, and I agree with a lot of things you say. It's going to be so hard to stack him against Spielberg because his body of work is so small. To call him the best director of all time, he is a great director, and he's one of my favorite directors, and we all have movie posters that are Tarantino hanging on our walls, but everyone also has even more Spielberg posters hanging on their walls. He's been around 3 times as long, and he has such a larger body of work. To deflect a couple questions here, Spielberg does turn things down that he doesn't think will succeed. For example, his first blockbuster was Jaws, 1975. They wanted to come out with Jaws 2. He would not agree to do that. So that deflects that part of that. He will turn them down if he doesn't think it. The thing about Spielberg is, I mean, yeah, when you've been around as long as him and you've directed and produced as many movies as him, every now and then one will be bad. So you could say one is bad when Tarantino has, his 9 favorite films that he also wrote. But just another thing as far as inventing and being creative, which was another point that he wanted to go against Spielberg. I want to point this out. Raiders of the Lost Ark 1981 is still to this day considered a landmark example in what an action adventure film should be. They follow that arc. He invented that. Spielberg also, both these directors both do this, but Spielberg eats, breathes, and lives film. As a matter of fact, he got his first touch of it as a 12-year-old Boy Scout. He got like a Boy Scout badge for videoing. He went from there to move to LA with his father, and he became the youngest director ever signed to a long-term deal with a major studio, which was Universal Studios. He was in college. He was in his early 20s. They signed him to a 7-year directing contract, which is unheard of at the time. The pop culture references for Steven Spielberg are just absolutely off the chart, where he's such a popular director and his body of work is so huge. He's been listed as one of the 100 most important people of all time by Time magazine. He's been named the most influential person of his generation by Life magazine. He was also the most influential person by Forbes magazine in 2014. That's all from a guy that just makes movies. Yeah, did he dabble in a lot? He brought it up earlier. He dabbled in animation. Here's some examples. Tiny Toon Adventures, Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain.
It has nothing to do with film. I'm going to interject with Quentin Tarantino has also been labeled as, because they're of separate generations. So Quentin Tarantino has also been labeled as the most influential director of his generation. He's also turned down multiple fucking movies that turned out to be hit fucking movies. He turned down directing Men in Black. Great fucking movie. He turned down an Iron Man series, and when Men in Black came out, Men in Black was a fucking smash. It delivered at the box.
Was a part of that, by the way.
Delivered at the box office. But who'd they go to first? He turned down. He turned down doing an fucking Iron Man franchise, and when it comes down to it, who really has the greater love for movies? I think it's Tarantino. With Tarantino, his vision and his feeling, his gut feeling for what movies and what cinema does is perfectly explained in Inglourious Basterds. Inglourious Basterds is a film about an alternate history where cinema defeats fucking the Nazis. I don't know what else can be said about a man who loves movies other than somebody who uses movies to defeat the Nazis in World War II. That's fucking, that's a man
Nazis,
who's about
you
his
say,
fucking craft.
Volume you use, I shall as well. Let's start with Schindler's List. Let's talk about the real ones. Schindler's List. And what I mean by that, with my extraordinary volume, and what I mean by that is, let's talk versatility. The guy that gave us Schindler's List also gave us Hook. He gave us E.T. He gave us Jurassic Park. He gave us The Color Purple. Look at this. Look at the range of films. I will say, I don't like knocking on Tarantino about anything, but if there's one thing for sure about Tarantino, it's that type of genre that he may have even fucking invented himself, if you want to call it that. But you know a Tarantino film when you see it. They all have that same signature style of directing or writing. Whereas Spielberg is all over the map. He goes from child's movies to Schindler's List, the most non-child's movie of all time, to fucking Jaws, the first summer blockbuster ever, the first movie to use animatronics the way it did, which then immediately went into Jurassic Park.
Is Spielberg-esque in the Oxford Dictionary?
Is that when we go into closure?
Is Spielberg-esque in the Oxford Dictionary? Because I know Tarantino-esque is in the fucking Oxford Dictionary, because he is that fucking influential to film and to cinema that his name, in reference to cinema and his style of cinema, is in the fucking dictionary.
That doesn't make him the best director if he has a word in a dictionary. If you want to talk about influences, how about the most influential person of all time? Voted 3 times by 3 different major magazines.
How about somebody that was so influenced by fucking movies that he made an entire career by stealing other fucking aspects of movies, throwing them in a fucking pot, mixing it around, and people are so amazed by the fucking jumbo he cooks up that, it became its own type of fucking film. Tarantino is a master fucking craftsman when it comes to looking at cinema as a whole, seeing what works, what doesn't work, seeing what he can apply to his own style, and fucking doing it.
Do you know how many times Tarantino's won Best Director?
I don't.
At the Academy?
That was one of the things I didn't Google earlier. But I would say maybe one. I'd say he's been nominated twice, but maybe won once for Django. Maybe.
I believe.
No, see, I know the answer. You're fine.
Is the answer 0?
We'll wait until the fight.
Okay, well, whether it's 1 or 0, Spielberg has actually won twice. He's been nominated multiple times, but he's actually won twice, and that was for Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan, a couple pretty important movies that you've probably heard of. His net worth is $3 billion. Like I said, he like triples everybody around him. But so that I didn't get lost in the numbers, I really wanted to talk about his versatility, which I hit on earlier, which was, like I said, everything from E.T. to Schindler's List to IMAX movies to cartoon movies to 3D movies. You have everything in this catalog. It's such a huge catalog. It reminds me of the Tiger Woods question with just so much stuff to lose. It's like I just have to get it all out. I mean, he's won the Best Director twice. He has more versatility than Tarantino.
I'll go ahead and throw it out there. The Academy is full of shit and not ready to handle the reality of Quentin Tarantino's realness of his...
How many times has Spielberg said the N-word?
Yeah, exactly.
That's not up for vote. Someone fact check that, but not out loud.
But yeah, I just feel like we both have good picks, but when it comes down to it...
You want to go into closing? Fuck it.
Yeah, sure. I don't give a
Fuck
shit.
it. Let's go into closing.
I feel like Tarantino, of modern directors that are still directing, nobody has a love for the craft quite the way that fucking Tarantino has. Tarantino didn't go to a film school. He didn't learn...
He did.
No, he went to acting school. He never went to, like...
Well, that's a film.
He took acting classes, but...
At a film school?
He didn't go to a film school for making movies. He went to act, which his background of learning to act helps him communicate with actors on such a ground level that, like, Kill Bill, one of his most known movies, came about through him and his relationship with an actress that he personally worked with. And him and Uma Thurman personally worked and wrote Kill Bill together, or at least the first one. He has the decency as a director to be like, oh, Uma Thurman, you're pregnant? Okay, well, we'll wait until you have your baby to do this fucking movie we've been planning for 3 fucking years. That's pretty badass as far as directors go.
This is what I love about you. Never did I think we were going to be at that. What a weird place to be, but here we are.
He's just that fucking
Fucking
guy.
Uma's pregnant.
Cool. I feel like when it comes down to directing and filmmaking as a craft, he could have easily taken the easy man way out. He could have directed way more movies than he's directed. He could have directed half the movies he's written that have done super fucking well. That he was like, no, it's a good script. It's not my vision for a movie. He said, fuck that. Sold the script, took that money, went on and did fucking Pulp Fiction, or not Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, which is a badass fucking movie. Reservoir Dogs is such a good fucking movie. Just, what you got there?
Matt's calzone.
Oh shit, Matt's calzone.
Keep going.
Just, like, I feel like when it comes down to subtle directorial choices of everything from soundtrack to, like, a lot of Tarantino movies don't have a fucking score. The first Tarantino movie actually to have a score was Hateful Eight, and that was because it was the first movie he felt he wrote that deserved its own score. But his use of repurposing infamous cinema and images that stand out in his mind, which I feel like is a great thing. Like Pablo Picasso said, good artists copy, great artists steal. That is fucking Tarantino to a nutshell. And it's not just he steals his fucking cinema or he steals his shots. He understands the purpose of the original shot and knows how to repurpose it to his own value. And I feel like that's one of those advantages he has, apart from his subtle selection of what he decides to do and work on. And I just feel like Tarantino is that guy. Spielberg's fucking... Like, what was the last thing Spielberg fucking did? I don't fucking know. Nobody fucking knows. It wasn't that fucking good.
Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Ready Player One? Okay, yeah, he did Ready Player One.
Here we go.
Oh. God damn it. I wish I would have remembered that. Because that movie's fucking bullshit. And that movie, even though it doesn't fucking count for shit, that movie ain't nothing but Spielberg referencing other Spielberg fucking works, and that's bullshit.
Sucks.
I gotta pee again. Also, I need to buy more beer.
All right, Brian.
You're ready, Bob.
Okay. Thought I was pretty amped for this shit. Okay, here we go. It's a different version.
I've been trying to lose all night. Let me read that thesis I wrote.
right. It's fucking digitized forever.
Let me read that goddamn doctorate I got.
Literally a doctorate. You should actually sign up for a class one day just so you can use it, because it's written already. You got that part taken care of. Okay, so just again a couple things I wanted to deflect that he sent my way about downs on Spielberg. The love of film. Come on, they both love film. Spielberg was a Boy Scout that got a video badge, and that sparked his love of film. He then put himself into the film industry as like a stagehand type person to work his way up as a director. That's how much he loves film. Clearly both dudes love film. Deflected. As far as Tarantino turning down films that could be bad, deflected. Like I said, Jaws 2, there's multiple examples, but Jaws 2 is the most famous example of Spielberg early on in his career. Since Jaws was the first big hit, Spielberg going, no, I'm not going to fucking put that on my record because I'm going to keep going, and then I'm going to come out with Raiders of the Lost Ark, etc. Something that's so important is that he appeals to all. Like I said, everything from cartoon, he has his hands in everything, from fucking cartoons to 3D movies, IMAX movies, like I said, Land Before Time, but everything to Schindler's List that we watch in school. So he's going from school to your fucking child's brain, to your adult brain, to your adult fantasy world, which is Jurassic Park, etc. Jaws, all of those things. The use of animatronics had never been done before to the level that he did it, and he brought it twice to us. The versatility is important, but nothing is more important than his overall numbers, which are in the billions, which is where he doubles everyone around him, his net worth, his directorial gross in all of his films. His films are timeless, they're iconic. Just listen to this list. Jaws, Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T., Jurassic Park, The Color Purple, Empire of the Sun, Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, even things like Catch Me If You Can, which he also produced, by the way. His list of production credits is longer than I can even read. Another numbers thing, 10 films that he directed actually went up for Best Picture. That's more films than Tarantino's even directed in his career. 10 of his have been nominated for the Best Picture, which he's won Best Film for 2, like I said, Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan. It's just the numbers, the versatility, the love, everything. It's just too much to deny Steven Spielberg.
Hell yeah.
How come he gets a fucking clip? Fuck you guys.
Well, you were screaming and cursing like a fucking crazy man.
I was yelling at this motherfucker right here.
There's more where that came from. He's got a whole thing of go juice.
Wait, so you close?
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I thought I did.
What's the most terrifying?
Hey, I need 11 shots of Fireball, please. Oh my god. Serious.
I don't know if he's serious or not.
I'm serious. 11 shots of Fireball.
I mean, you have his card, so, like,
Yeah.
whether he drinks one of them or not, just charge him.
Serious.
11 people? Yeah.
Why is
Is there 11 people in this room?
Yeah,
right now?
everybody gets a shot of Fireball.
Okay.
This is ridiculous.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Yo, turn this the fuck off, though.
No, don't. We'll get
Turn it up!
We'll get pulled. For real. We're gonna get pulled.
Yeah.
It's
not listening.
too loud
Yeah.
enough.
Who wins?
All right, no,
Okay.
fact
I'm up
check.
in the mic so I can't
It's
hear it.
probably loud enough to pull it, honestly.
Yeah,
Hey,
it for sure is.
So fact checks. Quentin Tarantino has won 0 Best Director Oscars.
Who gives a fuck? Fuck the
No,
Academy.
there's a fact check.
Fuck the Academy.
Steven Spielberg has won a couple, but never Best.
How many Best Pictures has Spike Lee won? None. Cause fuck the Academy.
Well, I actually
Actually,
brought
no,
that
he
up.
probably has.
I brought that up talking
Wait.
here. Spike Lee did
Did you
win
just
Best
say?
Original.
Did you just say Spielberg never won Best Picture? He won Best Director.
Yeah.
Right, twice. Which is why I said he won
Yeah.
it twice.
Yeah.
He was nominated 10 times for Best Picture.
Yeah, that was the question.
Best Picture,
Well,
he was
no,
nominated
that was-
10
that
times.
was brought
His
up.
wins were the
That
two
was brought
directors,
up.
Schindler's List
Yeah.
and Saving Private Ryan. which-
And I just want to say,
Yeah.
Saving Private Ryan lost to Shakespeare in Love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, for Best Picture?
Best Picture was
Jesus.
Shakespeare in Love. Then Red Line was also nominated that year. So.
Oh,
Because it's fucking great.
Who was your second choice? I'm curious. 'Cause we had to get two.
I had Tim Burton as my second
I had
choice.
Christopher Nolan as
I
my
was
second.
well. That's a great second choice. I was going to go into Fantasy World with Tim Burton if I had to.
This is bullshit. I was going Tarantino, and my second would have been Tim. Straight up. That's what I would have.
I would have said Kubrick.
See, I assumed Luke picked Kubrick. To be honest,
Yeah, I did.
Luke either picked Kubrick or some Japanese dude.
Or an Italian guy from the 70s.
My second would have been Takashi Miike.
Well, I've got some favorite directors, but I wanted to just go with the numbers. I wanted to go with the
But-
Hall of Fame numbers.
No, I mean,
I picked the first person that came to mind.
here,
I mean,
I'll say the negatives first. Brian, I wish you would have said, when Chris said he's fucking Tarantinoism, or Tarantino-esque is in the dictionary.
The Oxford
I wish-
Dictionary.
I wish you would have said blockbuster is, and fucking Spielberg put it there. Shit like that. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
not Webster's, but the Oxford English Dictionary. Tarantino-esque.
fucking
What up?
Spielberg created the blockbuster. You touched on it, but you never flat out said that.
alright. Championship round. Everybody gets shot a fireball.
Are we
Here's
toasting
yours.
anything, or can I just drink it like a
Well, I mean,
motherfucker?
we should
wait
probably
until
toast.
everybody gets one.
So,
I'll have you know I'm allergic to cinnamon.
Do it.
No, I'm not.
do you have your EpiPen?
My ex was though. It was the most weird allergy ever. She was
I've got a
allergic to
story
cinnamon.
about a similar thing.
She's allergic to cinnamon and vinegar. It was so fucking weird.
No, it's cinnamon and formaldehyde.
Chris, I feel like a
I would
lot of
eat,
your
like, a
argument
pickle.
was running in a circle.
Probably.
This
was shit I thought about like 9 hours
with
ago.
you being drunk.
Yeah, just like Tarantino's awesome, and I agree. Like, he is awesome.
Yeah, and like Brian, another
All the thought I put into this, I put thought into it as far as it still being a speed round.
Hey,
I
cheers.
ran out of shit.
negative to you.
That's all it is. Just cheers.
To the woods and real dumb.
Real fucking dumb shots. Here we go.
For real, guys.
For real dumb.
So,
This alcohol tastes like candy canes.
Yeah, man. Let's just go.
I'm gonna give the point to Brian.
That's fair. I don't give a fuck. I don't care, dude. You're not over here. I only give a fuck about beating you.
What?
To be honest, like.
Son of a bitch, bullshit. You have to fight Corey.
I literally, when you were in the bathroom, I was like, here's Chris. I don't give a fuck about winning. Here's this doctorate dissertation about why Quentin Tarantino is the best.
Right.
No,
Do we have 25? Because here it goes.
if we had time to like write out like full, given this was one of the questions we knew before, if I would have actually wrote out thoughts on it instead of having 5 pieces of blank paper with me with 5
But-
things written on them.
The important thing is, what is the best film that never got made?
What is the best film that never got made?
He said that never got made. It's the
Yeah,
second
I
question.
mean we've already answered this, so I
did.
can't change my answer now.
Nope.
But I want to say Revenge of the Jedi, directed by Stephen Lynch, or not Stephen Lynch. What the fuck
Go with
is
it.
his name?
Let's go with it.
What the fuck's his name?
I get on
David
that.
Lynch.
David Fincher.
All right,
But
so
no,
it's best movie never made.
Best movie never made. I went with
Rant.
Rain.
The best movie that could have been made
But
that
never
wasn't.
Given my answer's
Like
biased.
something that is.
It's not biased.
No,
has
it
been
entirely
talked
is
about,
biased.
But isn't. Like hasn't been moved, right?
Because I chose it, so it's impossible for it to not be
think
biased. But I chose
Brian?
Rain by
The Polinick.
yeah, Polnick.
Oh, that's really what you're going to... Oh, interesting. You're using my own dude against me. Fuck. Did they start that film? Isn't that
in
the question?
2014, James Franco acquired the rights to it and began casting. There's
Really?
been little to no updates since 2014.
Really? I am subscribed to that. Memory bank. That's...
It's part of the reason why I chose that. I won't even use it in my argument. But Rant was originally supposed to be a trilogy. He was going to release the second book, but it got tied up in the movie rights.
Weird.
But currently, James Franco owns the movie rights to it.
James Franco, man. That's crazy.
I don't know if you've read Rant. It's my favorite comic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've read it. Palahniuk is a proven entity, man. He puts out bangers.
Yeah.
So, like... It's crazy.
Like, earlier when you mentioned Lullaby,
I didn't know which one I wanted to go with. I was like in a fucking like...
My first go-to, I'd really love a fucking Haunted.
Everybody loves Haunted, and did you
I feel like
know...
Haunted as a movie would do well, though.
Did you fucking know that book glows in the dark, dude? You're gonna love this story. So listen, my boy in Florida reads the book because I suggested to him, I'm like, you're gonna love this book. I had just read it and I was all amped about it. So he reads the book. He lives in one of those pitch black rooms that literally has like no windows or anything. So he reads the book like all day. He reads it in like one full sitting. Puts the book on his shelf. Goes to bed at night. Wakes up in the middle of the night and it has a glowing face. And he's like, "What the fuck is that?" And he calls me. He's like, "Dude, this book has a fucking haunted face on it." I was like, "That is amazing." I would have never known unless he would have told me because I'm not in that situation where I can see it glow. What a weird little Easter egg in that.
But yeah, Matlock, what was your choice?
I didn't even say it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm
I
kidding.
never said it.
So you're both.
Yeah, we panicked out for a second.
Yeah.
I never even announced mine. So the film that I chose, which no one, I'm going to assume no one's ever heard of this. It's called No Extra Day, and that's because it was an independent film with like a Clerks type vibe. So it was on the indie circuit, and you know I purposely went this route, man, because I'll tell you right up front. When you're talking about films that have been shelved, meaning they at least started and something made them stop, I didn't want to argue my usual, which is like hard facts, numbers kind of deal. I wanted to argue just what sounds the fucking coolest. So here's what I'll just go ahead and start the opening. I researched movies that were shelved. I read through 20, 30, 40 movies, and one stuck out to me. As I read it, it's a 1999 movie, and again, it's called No Extra Day. It stuck out to me because it sounds like something that all of us would love and would fucking watch right now. And it goes like this: small plot. The closing of a good video store, like a local video store, the kind where every employee knows all the movies by heart that are on shelves. They eventually get closed out by a large chain, aka Blockbuster. This is 1999, okay? Where every and you got to think, a large chain closes them out where every employee's video knowledge ends pretty much at Batman and Robin, and how fucking hilariously like annoying that is. We can all relate to that.
Do you remember Sam Goody?
It's fucking awesome. I went in this store all the time.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
For some reason, they also sold like T-shirts, but like only like 5 shirts, and like I don't know, their business model was like whack as fuck.
Yeah.
But like, and they were during that time where like even like a fucking goddamn Britney Spears CD was like $25, and the year was like 99. You're like $25 is like a lot, and like it still seems fucked up, but like goddamn, at 99 it's like a lot. Sam fucking Goody, dude. No Extra Day. That's the start of mine. So I guess we're open now.
This is completely off topic. Can I pitch you a question for like your holler poll?
Yeah, dude.
First CD you ever bought? I feel like that'd be a good fucking holler poll.
Let me note it on my holler list. Because
It's
we've
an interesting
we've never
it's
posed
one of those
it,
very insightful
and everybody
things.
has
I
a
feel
very
like this could have been done off camera, but sure.
Yes.
Sorry, we're grooving. We're grooving and we're in it.
just vibing.
I don't even remember what the fucking question was offhand. I know I probably should know the question I picked because there was only 2 fucking questions. Or at least the answer I picked. Fuck the question.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep going then. The story. Here's where this gets cool. Like I gave you the plot, right? The plot sounds pretty
what was
fucking
the question?
pretty fucking cool. The movie that got shelved. Damn it, is the
Okay,
question.
yeah.
Here's some other cool facts about this movie, No Extra Day. They actually shot this movie. They got 3/4 of the way through. The problem with this is they shot it in Seattle. It's an indie film. A group of film lovers started the production, and it even got good press. It got good press on quite a few magazines and internet websites back in the day that kind of didn't exist, to the level they do now, which is unfortunate. They probably could have. That's what I really want to get to here. They probably could have fucking crowdsourced it these days and made this movie happen because it's cool. We all love that Clerks, that Jay and Silent Bob vibe. But this movie,
Except for the reboot.
This is where I don't know. They're on tour with that or something like. I'm kind of
we can talk about it later.
Yeah. Anyways, so the irony here is the store that this is just some facts about this movie. The store that they filmed this movie in, where they were 3/4 of the way through, was actually in danger of being closed down by a Blockbuster at the time. That was after they started shooting. Just Blockbuster came in and was like, "We're about to shut you down." Ironically, the whole idea for the movie, the director of this film, he was inspired when his own video store that he loved so much was closed by a Blockbuster. So lots of revolving door theme here, which is why so much love and insight went into this movie. This was a guy that was in the industry. It's not just a guy that saw blockbusters happening. He was in the industry, loved it so much, decided to cast a thing, raised $20,000 to cast it and to start filming it, but ultimately needed at the very minimum $50,000 more and couldn't come up with the $50,000 more. And again, I'm blaming 1999 and lack of internet crowdsourcing and GoFundMe's and things like that. I'll leave it.
See, I could see where that actually could be an interesting film. It'd be it's very something as I probably of people offhand.
It's probably the most up your alley of all the films.
Given people, I don't think you've ever actually been in my bedroom.
No.
You've been in my house multiple times. I probably have more VHS tapes than anybody.
I've heard you. That's what I'm saying. I've heard you talk about all these things that you love like that. Yeah.
That sounds very much up my alley, but unfortunately, it's one of those things where had it been made, I feel like it wouldn't have still stood the test of time because most people today's day and age don't recognize or know what a VHS tape is, let alone a video store, because there's Netflix. I just feel like it wouldn't hold up in that sense. Whereas my movie, it's a little newer, 2014, never fucking happened. But I feel like it's just an interesting fucking film. It's based on a Chuck P book. Chuck P has had 2 movies, to my knowledge, become films. One was a massive hit success. The other one was a good movie, but not enough people saw it.
Fucking flop in theaters.
Yeah, it was pretty much a flop, but
my favorite Chuck book.
It's a good book.
Choke.
I feel like, but as far as Rant goes as a book, it's one of those things that is very easily timeless. It's because just the way that book itself is written, it's very not dated until you get into the futuristic technology aspect of it, which is the whole memory. I forget the term for it, but the whole video input thing they have. But I feel like it was one of those properties that as soon as the rights were auctioned off, I was like, fuck yeah, that would be a good fucking movie. And then I learned, oh, James Franco bought the rights to that. That actually works out perfectly because, I don't want to give away too many spoilers for the book, but I don't give a fuck. I'm going to give away spoilers for the book.
I read it, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah, essentially one character is 3 characters in the book. But
Tyler vibes much?
That's fucking very complicated. But I feel like easily with James Franco owning the rights to this book, so you have James Franco play Chet. What the fuck's his brother's name? Dean Franco?
Dave
Franco. Dane Franco plays Rand.
Sounds made up.
Dean Franco. It does sound made up. God, next time we get stopped by the cops. But
His name should
yeah.
have been Frank.
But yeah, Dean Franco plays the younger. God damn it, Dave Franco plays the younger version of Rand, aka Buster Casey. So you have these 2 characters that are essentially the same character at different ages, existing in the same time frame, played by siblings. So they look enough like each other to it fucking makes sense to be yeah, this is that dude, but 15 years older.
You have 3 minutes.
Okay, that makes complete fucking sense. You can also use the rest of James Franco's fucking like crew
Before we close,
to
or-
like fucking yeah. You use the rest of James Franco's like fucking crew to like pad out the rest of the fucking script. Like Bodie Carlisle can be played by fucking Danny McBride, which would be fucking great. Bodie's the dude that like comes up with the whole like through the process of time travel comes up with the whole like fucking plug your shit into like a VCR shit. That's fucking. What the fuck are you doing, guy? Sorry.
In the middle of it,
he threw me the fuck off. He threw just handfuls of fucking red pepper
The
flakes.
show's over.
But yeah, so you can introduce Danny McBride in there. You have fucking James Franco's like fucking Chet. Dave Franco. Oh, almost let's say Dean. Dave Franco as Buster. Echo Lawrence. I'll go with like a
Jimmy Dean Franco, the Sausage King.
I'll go with like what's her name? April Ludgate. Fucking
Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza is like fucking. I feel like Aubrey Plaza would be a great Echo Lawrence for Rant.
Listen,
and
man,
you-
I gotta come in for a
it's-
minute.
it's-
You've taken the
go-
whole 3
go
minutes
for
with
it.
this, okay?
Sorry.
I wanted to get out a couple more things before the closing argument. I found this awesome, and it also made me really curious about the film again. The director, he made himself a little website back in '99, and you get to see the website still. You can go to it right now.
Do you have to use the Wayback Machine?
Yeah, you can go. It's archived. You can
No,
go
I
to
was
it.
just curious if you had to use the Wayback Machine specifically, or if it's
I don't
still a
know.
website.
I don't know. Anyways, they made a website to promote it, and it's fucking hilarious. That's what got me hooked on the idea of this movie. For example, the guy actually physically typed this out on it. This has nothing to do with the movie. This is just him taking a shot at Blockbuster because he hated them so much at the time. He said, "Damn you, Blockbuster. May something fall out of your ass that even science cannot identify." He also wrote, "We shot this movie for about $17,300, roughly the cost of one frame of one of those flying CGI helicopters in Godzilla." Like little quotes like that make me
Like the
think.
Matthew Broderick Godzilla?
I think like this is '99 he's talking about.
Yeah,
so
yeah, so that would be the
it's
Godzilla
just
he's talking
little
about.
quotes like this make me think like you've got a funny director with a Clerks type vibe of a movie. Indie films make it sometime, man, and I wanted to argue for it. Anyways, we can probably get into closing now. That was my last.
Who? I'd see. Who is involved in it? Like, has the dude that wrote this or done anything else or anything?
Dude, these were indie filmmakers.
Any filmmakers that like
There was one dude, the main star.
maybe done like some DP
He had
work
done
or shit?
other things, and the rest of the cast had not, and that's why I kept referring to like a Jay and Silent Bob scenario because it's very similar to that.
It's very much one of
You
those
kind of
things,
have
had
one
it
guy,
taken
you're
off,
putting your
he would be
eggs in his
yeah.
basket and hoping for
Yeah.
the best.
I get it. I don't even want to discredit like a filmmaker for that or anything like
Yeah,
that.
it's fucking cool, man. We
Because
would watch it.
it's one of those things like you explaining this to me. Are we just doing closing? Okay.
No.
I was just going to say it sounds cool.
One thing, I guess, to say negative about this, I'm not so sure this film has actually been shelved as much as it's just in the process, which is a really important part of the question. And so I don't know. I don't know if it's been actually shelved. This one was halfway. This was 3/4 of the way through filmmaking, and I just wish that we could get a redo. Even though VHSs are outdated, there's plenty of movies that are fucking way outdated that are still just goddamn hilarious today. Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. I could just like watch these old ass stupid movies all day long. And this could be one of them. This is by far not a serious movie, of course. I told you these guys are goofballs. But so I'm not so sure this one's shelved or not. I don't know what the difference is between just not being made yet or shelved. I think my film, they went further. They filmed 3/4 of it. They started a website for it. They started sourcing. They started raising money. They just couldn't raise enough. They clearly needed, and he stated on the website, they need $50,000 like yesterday, and they just couldn't get it fast enough. I think if this film happened in today's age, I think $50,000 would have just fucking flown at them like nothing. It's very similar to like the Super Troopers situation when the world saw this goofy like on paper, dude. Super Troopers is a goddamn joke. It's a fucking disaster. But we love it. The world loves it, and we actually fucking GoFunded me a second Super Troopers to the point where it actually went to like major theaters, not even just like little theaters. And I think that's what they were shooting for. It could have happened this way, this age and time. it would have had that whole Jay and Silent Bob feel, and he makes a point that this one it didn't age as well because this one happened in 1999. I think it's a moot point because at the end of the day, all films will age. Even his idea, and even something as cool as Fight Club that Palahniuk made, they all fucking age. 50 years from now, 100 years from now, they're going to say the same shit about that one. So it's kind of a moot point where they're both going to age, and it just is what it is. I don't know. I ran across this film, No Extra Day, and I know it's independent, and I know it didn't come with those big names, possibly, but I just think the plot of these guys that had the love for their video store and it getting closed down, it really sounded like they had something there, and I think it's a damn shame that this one didn't get made. Side point, you don't have to admit it until this fucking round's over. This sounds just like a movie we would all sit down together and just drink some beers and watch. It sounds goddamn hilarious. No Extra Day.
Did you all want to go to a speed round?
I don't know. I don't know what the point factor is. I feel like, was this not the first question between us?
No, it's the second.
Okay, I don't.
All right,
I don't know
all right.
what the
I
fuck's going
have
on.
2 questions. First off, is that the same price as a pizza?
Yeah.
Okay, not buying them.
No, it's great.
Second, I know what his answer was. I know what your answer was.
I
told you.
I have yet to give my closing
Yeah.
statement.
He hasn't closed yet.
Let him close. Hang out here. Let him close.
Yeah,
I haven't heard
go
anything,
pee because
so
my
I
closing
should
statement's
bond.
gonna be super short.
Hey, I say fuck the speed round.
No speed round?
I don't give a
I don't
fuck
care either way. I don't care either way. So if you're adamant about one or the other,
I don't give a fuck either way, and
we
I don't
just
know what
speed
the
rounded
score
like
is.
twice in a row.
No
so like,
speed round. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the score is or anything.
If you get the point, it comes down to the blind pitch. If you get the point, you win.
right.
Okay. Okay, so closing. For
Rachel.
This,
What? They're gone.
yeah, there's
I'll get you one from behind.
just walk back.
That'll work. Put it on my tab.
As far as closing for this goes, okay. So, for anyone unfamiliar with Rant, I feel like Rant is one of those movies, and you mentioned you're not sure if it's one of those things that's been shelved or not.
It's been shelved for a decade.
Yeah, it's there hasn't been a mention of it since
Which I'm
fucking James Franco
literally
acquired
only
the rights to
saying
it.
because I allow it.
James Franco, there's been literally no update or mention of this movie since 2014. It's 2019 going on to 20 in a month. So that's
Sorry,
going
I
on.
Phrase.
That's
It's
going
been
on.
in pre-production for a decade.
Yeah, it's going on like
Let it happen.
a hot minute. Part of the reason why I feel like this would be such a great fucking movie is because of the source material for this movie. The source material for this movie, if done in a movie form, I can only think of maybe one movie that's touched upon anything remotely like this. The whole, it being the book is written as an oral history, but I guess the movie itself could be divulged as a documentary or a mockumentary type thing, which most mockumentaries are a thing. Most mockumentaries focus on comedy type shit. I feel like this would be a mockumentary that's not even a mockumentary, it's just a fucking fiction movie, but it would be delivered in the form of a mockumentary that is very much a serious science fiction hard film that is more or less an allegory for fucking Jesus, but I won't even get into that because that gets way too in depth in the plot of the movie. But it's just
Always that how did we get here moment. Here we are.
yeah, it's such a wild fucking book. I will say, due to James Franco's, what is the camera aimed at right now? Is it just aimed at me?
The fucking like what? No, your arm. It's like you're just
just noticing it.
Fuck your closing, just your elbow.
But like going based on if this movie were to suddenly pick up in production, based on James Franco's crew and who James Franco's worked with previously, I feel like perfect director to pick up this fucking film where it left off Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen, you might shake your head at it. Seth Rogen directed the pilot episode of Preacher, which is one of the best fucking pieces of TV. The pilot episode of Preacher is one of the best fucking aired episodes of TV
Yeah, on the ball.
in fucking years. Preacher is one of those like fucking pieces of media that is so hard to direct. Not like direct in like a direct, but like to take out of context and shove in a different medium. Rant is the same fucking thing. Rant is essentially a PBS documentary. And I feel like Seth Rogen has the chops to take that like documentary type format, add some humor, because there's humorous parts of that book, make it work as a serious fucking film that is an allegory for Jesus fucking Christ. Whether you want to admit it or not, Rant is an allegory for fucking Jesus.
No, Jesus fucking Christ.
But like, it's just one of those fucking perfect movies that is so different than any other movie we've seen. We've seen hundreds, I'd say plenty, if not hundreds. I'll restate that. Plenty, if not hundreds, of mockumentaries. We've never really been given a mockumentary in a serious format. There's never really been that mockumentary delivered in a serious fucking way, especially in a science fiction way that involves social class.
Sue and the Banshees. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But it involves social class, time travel, technology. It's just, it is the fucking best thing that could possibly fucking happen. And I'm upset that it hasn't happened yet.
This is cool, dude.
It's one of my favorite fucking.
You're like King Koopa.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite book. It was the movie rights were auctioned off 6 years ago, if closing on 7 years ago. And I know for a fact, if given $500 in 3 months' time, I could at least put forth a fucking shitty version of this movie, let alone James Franco.
Rapid.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. James Franco. That's what I'm saying. Like $600 and me giving rights to this movie, I could
Only
at least put forth
$600.
a shitty version of this movie, let alone James Franco with his infinite amount of money and his infinite amount of resources
Franco bucks.
being given this fucking property. That's a fucking smash hit. It's a new fucking hit. It's new. It's different from any other fucking movie we've seen. And it's a fucking great story.
Fucking point to Chris.
Really?
Really?
I'm fucking just like...
Same.
No, you sold me on it in your fucking clothes, even though it took a goddamn fortnight.
I thought it was hilariously rambling. I thought this was over, dude. Okay.
No,
Same.
He fucking... The cast, you could do this for fucking $600 in the same fucking cast, and I'd watch it. Fucking all that shit. I'm not happy about it either, man.
Matt's pissed off.
Fucking literally
So
none
is
of us are happy Chris just got this point.
So is
But
that 1-1 though?
It's 1-1.
Okay, I'm
All
sorry.
right. Here's the blind.
Matt's like, I want to go home and jerk off. Fuck this shit.
Yeah, I'm mad at you, Chris.
I'm trying to go play some fucking No Man's
was
Sky or
Brian's
whatever you're playing.
fucking point. But you stole it, you son of a bitch. Here's the fucking blind. Pitch me the greatest movie of all time.
Greatest movie of all time?
Yeah. Just pitch it.
Right now?
No, you have time.
Bring them up, baby.
No, I'm ready to go. Go do your business. I wasn't sure if there was going to be a blind pitch or if we had to draw anything, so I came up with a movie earlier in my head. I'm sorry.
That was ridiculous just now. If you
No,
go
I
back and-
expected you to get that.
You just rambled endlessly, and it fucking like... I was waiting to just be done. I thought, well, we're out of here.
No, my main reason, I didn't even bring it up. Well, I kind of mentioned it. My main reason for wanting, given, like, Rant is my favorite book of all time. Like, just the format of that book, I think is so innovative. The fact that it's written as a auditory, like, history. It's like so-and-so's character name, and then them, like, talking about this. Like, it's written like a documentary, but it's a book. But the fact that it's supposed to be a trilogy of books that got tied up into like the bullshit of that. Yeah, good smoke.
I need multiple minutes, and I'm sorry, dude, but I'm gonna have to start like thinking right now. He already pre-thought of a movie of him.
Yeah, I
so
thought of
it's
a
good.
movie like hours ago. I'm sorry. I thought we had to draw shit out of a thing. Because it's a blind pitch.
No, the blind pitch is no restraint. Pitch me
Okay.
what would be the greatest.
I mean,
movie
I'm ready for it. It's going to be a bad movie, and I don't expect to win off it. But it was a thing that made me laugh. It was a thing that
Yeah,
made me,
bring it on. Just fuck it.
It was a thing that made me laugh like 5 hours
Well,
ago.
come smoke a cigarette with me then.
Let me pee first. And can you continue venting to Brian about this book?
That I love. The book that I love so much.
But like, I just think it's such an experimental like narrative itself that like I think that transferring that into a film would be pretty straightforward. And the closest thing I can think to it, I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was some stupid science fiction movie years ago about like some lady being abducted by aliens. If anybody knows the name of that movie. If you're watching this right now, comment below or something. Does anybody know what movie I'm talking about?
I don't think
You fuckers over there are playing Battleship.
Yeah, have you ever seen the movie? It's amazing.
Yeah, Rihanna's best film. Who's going, pal?
It's the very last question, and I've got like crazy homework right now. I have to create a movie right now. So I'm
But
creating.
you already did one.
No, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm creating a movie. I'm creating the greatest movie of all time. So it's got to involve fucking outer space. Has to.
Have we had the conversation? I've never seen Vanilla Sky. I just thought now would be a good time to show you.
No, that's fine. I mean, most people haven't.
Some science
Most
fiction
people haven't.
movie that came out, I want to say it's
Up my cruiser.
Brandon might know.
What's a great way that we could defeat beings from another
It is
galaxy,
like
from another
so
universe,
It's this lady talking
that are so
telling a
smart
story.
their ships can
It's this lady
bend
telling a story
gravity,
about like being
space, and
abducted by
time? How can we
aliens.
take them out if they're already that smart? What can we do here on Earth that can fuck them up? And actually, I might have a hilarious plot twist.
It's like one of
Should
those
we
like
take them out in a hilarious way or a serious
I think
way?
you're thinking of that SNL skit.
No, it's one of those movies. It's made very much like Unsolved Mysteries or one of those things, but it's a movie where there's like people talking to the camera like this is what happened, and there's like the reenactment.
Both.
It's like completely
This is the
separate
greatest
shit.
movie of all time. I said both.
It's this lady being abducted by aliens.
Why would they want to come to our planet in the first place? What would make
Okay,
it
so
hilarious?
what's your
But Rent
comedic?
would be like essentially the same thing, where it's the people talking to the camera.
Um,
And then there'd be the
I want a
reenactment.
being to come from outer space to our planet to try to take it over for some
Rent
reason,
would
and I
be
want
such a
all of our
good movie.
countries
But
on
my only
Earth
reason
to
for
come
wanting that to
together
be a
as
movie is so
one
the rest
because
of
we
the
have to
world
unite so
because
that
they're
fuel
tied up in
didn't,
fucking like.
while also
So, like,
being
in
Dude, he
So
brought up
it's
Lullaby, and I was like, God damn, here he's all trying to pound it.
Someone's about to fly into the motion and blow it up.
Lullaby is one of the handful of.
So Jeff
See, that's a
Goldblum and
bad,
Will Smith.
that's a bad thing. I don't want to pitch a movie that's already been done. That's
See,
bad.
I'll
what you're trying to do
confuse
there.
Lullaby with that.
So I gotta change it up a little bit
Wait,
then.
no, I've
So
Lullaby's the one that like, Lullaby's the one that like takes place like back.
The only thing I can think of right now is 13 going on
There's
30
one
because
where
this
it's like
song
a
is
guy
in
on a
it.
plane.
okay, I gotta think. Seriously, I gotta think hard.
Well, I'm just, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just scared to say hi. 'Cause I'm just
Yeah.
sitting over there. Did you drink those weird ones in the fridge? There are mango ones in the fridge.
Sorry, I gotta think so hard. I'm sorry.
Don't cruise in USA. It's my turn again. Don't obey me. I2. H5. C3. Yep. Yeah. Keep playing.
Okay. Alright, I've got the word. Okay. Let's go with E9.
G7.
H2.
No, it's my turn. E5. J8.
Okay. Well, Chris gets in the I'm gonna propose something.
I9.
I'm gonna stop writing in that case and just wait for the proposal.
I8.
I propose loser judges.
What does that mean?
Whoever loses this judges the championship.
Okay. I mean, I'll be there either way.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't have to stop writing for that.
You did.
I
All right, Chris, you clearly had one in the pocket. You go first.
Right.
And you also led the first one.
So
First of all, I'm not ready yet. I've got to also pee before I start on this.
Well, you won't get a rebuttal.
Yeah,
It's just pitch, and then I award a point.
pitch and pick. I get it, and I know that like you stepped out to smoke, but like seriously, man, you're only gone like 3 minutes. I've had like 3 minutes to write a whole movie.
No,
and I need more time. I just need more time. If it's for everything, I need more time to write a movie.
Okay.
I mean, it's cool that he thought of one and everything, but I can't wait to fucking
You
get
want that other piece
lost.
of calzone, anybody?
what's on it?
Ham and mushroom.
I don't fuck with mushrooms unless they're psychedelic, unfortunately.
A9.
Yeah.
Ham.
Ham. God. That reminds me of the thing I'll talk to you about when the microphone's off. In case somebody that's definitely not going to watch this decides to watch this, I'll be grounded.
Best director of all time is Stanley Kubrick. They were both wrong.
David Lynch.
Yeah.
No. David Lynch did Eraserhead.
David Lynch, best director of television of all time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll.
Given you
Whatever.
you still haven't watched Twin Peaks though.
No. But
You need to watch.
Kubrick.
You need to watch Twin Peaks, and then I need to link you this fucking.
number 1 is Kubrick. Number 2 is Kurosawa. Number 3 is Spielberg.
I can see that, yeah. Like I said earlier, I went with the first. Like I went in the
So
order.
the number 3 fucking pick 1.
I went with the order. Talking about the best director, I went in the order that I thought of names.
Okay.
Like I didn't want to put a lot of thought or like research or anything. I was like, best director.
Did those shots ever happen?
Shots? Yeah.
I don't think so. No, there were other shots.
Were there supposed to be other shots?
Yeah, there were.
I thought you did that bullshit strategy where you just like pocketed it.
What did you actually pick for that question, though?
For what?
Best director.
Tarantino?
Did you have to?
Did I have to pick Tarantino? No. my initial honest first thought was Spielberg, but like I don't. Spielberg isn't one of those directors that like.
Scorsese, like I picked Scorsese or
Yeah, Scorsese was up
or
there.
Kubrick was my second.
Okay, just as my backup, because I figured somebody would pick that. Kubrick,
Scorsese
is
was
the
my
best.
first one of my first thoughts, but I've only seen The Departed. I don't know that I've seen any other Scorsese.
Why?
Because I went to film school, but I didn't pay attention to directors' names.
That doesn't even matter, though. I was just like...
No, I'm purely a film student that does not pay attention to names. I don't know actors. I don't know shit. So like, I may have seen 15 Scorsese films, but I can only think of one that I've seen offhand because I don't watch the goddamn credits to movies. I look at IMDb later.
You
I don't watch the credits.
Like
and shit.
Goodfellas and stuff?
Did Scorsese do Goodfellas?
Yeah.
That's news to me. See, Goodfellas popped in my head when it was the best gangster film. Corey can sit there, I don't give a fuck.
I'm gonna move out of the way.
I mean, Brian needs to sit down, but like Corey can come back.
Oh, shit.
Oh God. Oh Lord, he coming.
Have we already given you answers? No, never mind, we haven't. I forgot the question and then I remembered the question.
Talking about it.
Hey, good job on Battleship.
Oh, the very should be
3750.
I've yet to shoot mine, but I'll save it. I'll save it for either victory or loss. I don't give a fuck either way.
Hey, I got a napkin or two.
No, you lose it too. So we have to lose it today. This game, $35. $35 for that sweatshirt.
$15, little man. Put that money in my hand. If that money doesn't show, then you owe me.
Here's where this fucking sucks.
My jungle love. Oh we. Does anybody else like more stay in the time though? Outside of a reference to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, does anybody else fuck with more stay?
Talk out of my ass with my idea off script. I like to generally.
I would
like
talk to
generally
you all
present
fucking day
pages
about
of
shit.
ideas, but
I'm
I
not
can't
even
write that
lying.
right now because I don't have enough time. So.
Well, once we're done with this, I'll
This is a quick round.
Like you and I could.
That has taken 3
We
hours.
could talk.
Well, we knew that going in.
Okay, Chris.
Do you
Pitch
want
me the greatest movie
do you want my movie or do you want the title first?
He is winning.
It's not a winning thing. It's a whoever Matt likes their movie
to
first.
present it. Do
Yeah,
it.
I lost that round.
All right. The star of my movie is Michael Rappaport. America's Sweetheart, Michael Rappaport.
You didn't want to play Battleship.
Gorgeous hunk of a fucking man, Michael Rappaport. I want to like AMSR this. Like Michael
Emily
Rappaport.
chooses him as the winner.
Michael Rappaport is so like he's America's fucking hunk right now. Like if you think of 2019, you think of sexiest man of the year, you think of Michael Rappaport. But my movie is starring Michael Rappaport as Todd. Todd is a man who works for the company. I'm gonna Sizer Koze this out of the ass. Jalapeno Inc. Michael Rappaport plays as Todd. He is a person. He works for a company stationed out of America, but he's currently working in Japan for this company. He's a kind of translator type.
Indication as to how you're doing. And
As you pull out your Nintendo Switch.
yeah. Whenever you can make me.
All right, so.
That's when you know you've sunk.
Michael Rappaport works for this company. He's currently stationed in Japan. It's an American company, but they're stationed in Japan. And he essentially, the movie starts out, he's kind of working in Japan. He's kind of your average, kind of like just schmo, just kind of your average nobody. He has a decent job, but like it's not like the highest paying job. He's not like the best in the company. But he's currently stationed in Japan. And shortly, maybe 15 minutes in the movie, 20 minutes into the movie, long enough into the movie for you to get an idea for who his character is. He gets called into a movie. He gets fired from his job. and he's like, "Fuck, what do I do now?" Because he's lost his job. He's currently over in Japan. A bunch of bad shit happens, you know, like he loses his passport, etc., yada yada yada. Kind of stuck in Japan. He hits a down point where he goes on a kind of an alcohol bender. And he's just wasted, wandering around the streets of Japan, kind of being a bum. When one day, somebody approaches him, it was like, "Oh shit, can I take your picture?" Like, I never thought I'd meet a famous American. And he's drunk, he's like, "Yeah, take my picture, yada yada, whatever." They take his picture and say, "Oh my god, I never thought in my life I'd meet Christian Bale." So he's like, "Oh fuck."
What?
So essentially,
You brought Christian Bale?
Christian Bale in this, yeah. Michael Rappaport.
Where is she?
As Christian Bale. So essentially, this movie is this downhearted, down on his luck, fucking American man stranded in Japan, case of mistaken identity, mistaken for Christian Bale. He essentially initially thinks of it as a way to like get like a little bit of money. Like, yeah, I'll take some pictures of tourists for $5 a pop for as Christian Bale. It snowballs into him doing radio interviews to TV interviews to full-fledged fucking Japanese cinema as Christian Bale until he hits a point where he meets a woman in his life, a famous Japanese actress who also mistakes him for Christian Bale. And it becomes a level of, does he tell her he is not Christian Bale, the well-known American actor, and lose the love of his life? Or does he keep up his lie, gain millions of dollars, or gain as much money as he possibly can, but lose himself in the middle by impersonating Christian Bale in the hit summer film Christian Side Hustle? That's my film, Christian Side Hustle. Starring Michael Rappaport as Christian Bale. Or a Christian Bale lookalike. And now I'm going to take this shot.
Wisely.
But I think that's a dope name. Regardless of how much my movie sucks. Christian Side Hustle? I'm sorry.
Oh, God, I'm so glad you pitched that, dude. That was... Thank you.
I thought of that earlier when I was pooping.
I do not have the dad.
And I was like, this will never come up in any situation where I ever get to talk about this, and it did. I'm glad.
Okay, again. I'm up, I assume. Okay.
You got a ponytail yet?
I don't.
When we first met, were you totally short hair? How short was your hair? I was thinking that just.
It is much shorter than it was, but not much.
We essentially met like a year ago.
I'd say below ear level.
So you haven't touched it? I just think the weird thing is.
I've had it cut separate.
I just think the weird thing is, like, today is the first day
I was thinking
that
about
I
this the
ever
other
walked
day.
in and go, he looks like a different dude to me.
See, I was thinking about this the other day, but it's because when I met him, he had like below shoulder length long hair, and it's the closest it's been to that since then.
Yeah, I don't know.
Given I knew you for years of long hair, and then
At this point, am I letting it grow out, or
have you just not had a haircut yet in a while? I was thinking about this the other day.
You'll never get it.
Okay, so again, I'm going off my usual, and I apologize for that. Typically, I like to just read from script and give you about 2 full pages, as well as all the actors, the year, etc. This setting did not allow me to do that. I'm going to give you 2 main things, and that's what's important here. The director, which is Christopher Nolan, because here's the thing, man. If we want to, let's just back up for a second. If we want to talk about the greatest movie of all time, I need science fiction in my movie, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. I need shit to happen. I need big things to happen, so that's why I went and got my guy, Christopher Nolan, first of all. Secondly, I want a young actor that the crowd can connect with. I don't want them to be too intimidated by him in the beginning. I don't want him to be too overwhelming, but I want him to be this kind of like face, this golden boy. Think of like Leo in his prime kind of deal. I need this. I need
95 Leo. I've got a boner.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I need this fucking boner boy, but 2019, and my boner boy is Ansel Elgort. This is Baby Driver, bro. So
He's a pretty dude.
he's a pretty dude, and he's fucking cool. He's proven at this point, and I think he can handle the greatest movie of all time. So let me give you some other factors about the greatest movie of all time. If we're talking about the greatest movie that's ever happened, I've got to have some type of time travel, space-time continuum, outer space type situation. It has to happen in my movie because these things are what we all wonder about as humans. We wonder... This is bad, poor timing. Can we ever transcend space and time? When you start saying those words, the fabric of space-time, dude, that really makes ears go up. That makes people think about that. So, that being said, we know what's happening. It's Ansel. We're going to travel through space and time somehow. But I want some other things to happen in my movie. I want there to not only be sci-fi and big things, aka Christopher Nolan, but I want my movie to pull a little bit at the heartstrings. This is where that Vanilla Sky part of me comes out, because I know how much that can affect my audience. I need all of these things in my movie. So, I present you Ansel Elgort as the character. He's an intern. He's an intern in a science lab, so he's nobody important. He lives a mundane life. Randomly in his lab, he accidentally runs across an element called Element 13. This does not exist on Earth. This discovery allows him to create projectiles through testing that can transcend space and time. This is where we get into the time travel thing. So, you just have to accept all that happens in the movie. The details of it, you gotta watch the fucking movie. But the element that we don't have on Earth is what allows us to bend gravity in front of us. It allows us to travel in a space vehicle that doesn't project something out the rear like a jet. It actually bends space in front of it to move. And if you're bending space in front of you, that means you are not aging as a person. That's what can make you time travel. So, he's going to use this to time travel, which is what we've always been curious about. In his time travel, he decides to go to those alternate universes because it turns out alternate universe theory is true, and he wants to dabble a little bit in changing parts of his life. And he starts simple. He goes to the early relationships, the fucking teams that he didn't make, the grades that he didn't make. He starts simple. But this movie really gets out of control here when it progresses, when he really starts traveling through space and time and starts to go into the future. And what we learn in the future is Earth is no more. We've populated a new planet at this point, and he's going to take you there. Which is interesting because we've got a whole new landscape. We've learned how we got there, and no longer are we worried about how could we have traveled so far, because I just told you, Element 13 bends gravity in front, it bends the fabric of gravity in front of us. So, when he gets to this populated planet, you get kind of an Avatar situation where there is a similar situation of the human race, Indians type things, avatars on the planet, if you will.
I think you mean Native American.
Natives, yeah, sorry. Twitter.
Native planetarians.
Yeah, Navatarians. Navatars. Is that the new? Oh my God, Navatars. He did not.
The trick is Brian and I are gonna write a fucking script together, and it's gonna fucking sell millions.
So in the beginning, they're kind of laughing at him because all of his movements seem funny. They seem untimely. And ultimately, as we go through this little space-time continuum with this, and the new people and the new landscape that we're so interested in, this is where it starts to tug at the heartstrings. We ultimately learn that truly what Ansel's character misses is just that mundane life. He misses that fucking Earth life, which takes us all the way back to what we always go to in all movies, which is you kind of miss your roots, you miss where you came from. So this whole movie boils down to, is he going to stay in this future environment and learn his way, or is he going to bend that fabric and go back to that mundane life and maybe try to be a better him? That's the trailer for this movie. Fucking buckle up, here it comes.
get the point.
Thank you, man.
You say he gets the point?
Chris is
That's fine. I was weird. I was weird. I haven't seen his dick.
I'm just saying, is this like a draft? Like
I
1999
mean, I don't have a seen your play.
The correct pitch was a young Edward Furlong.
Yes. Fucking scratched and noted.
I don't even remember the last question at this point.
Huh?
I don't remember what the fuck.
And thank you for that. Thank you for not remembering that because it really helped me.
It did.
It did help me because you're usually so tough at this point.
What was it?
In Fantasyland, you're so tough, dude.
Was it the what movie should be made?
What movie should be made? You already had one picked.
All right. So